Chapter 1251. Yushang was very cunning. She was an old monster who had lived for God knows how long. She always thought that even if Yunxing and Rita were strong, they were still young girls who had lived for only a few decades. They were still wet behind the ears. How could they be her match when it came to scheming? Yushang pretended to be pitiful to gain the sympathy of others. She wanted to win the competition with one move. She didn't expect Rita to be angered by Yushang's pretense. She used her family's inheritance as soon as she entered the arena. Seeing that Rita was getting closer and closer, sparks flew out from the friction of the combat aura spinning top. It's a pity that such a delicate beauty is going to be ruined this time. Rita, that ugly monster, must be doing this on purpose. Silver Rock Junior Patriarch had a pained expression. Just when everyone thought Yushang was going to die under Rita's tyrannical inheritance, Rita had already rushed into the circle and sent Yushang flying. A black figure landed heavily on the ground. Everyone looked closely. The person on the ground was already in a pile of meat. His facial features couldn't be seen at all. However, his muscular body and attire showed that he wasn't Yushang. Junior Patriarch Rita, it seems like I won this competition. Amidst the giggling, Yushang, who should have been lying on the ground, was still standing in the circle, perfectly fine. Yushang flicked her long hair. Her blue-green eyes were filled with pride. How to? Rita realized that one of her behemoth warriors was missing. The one who was hit by her Rita's peerless strike was her capable subordinate, the behemoth warrior How Tuesday. She didn't expect her Rita's peerless strike to be used on a fellow warrior. She looked at Yushang again. How did she do it? Rita clearly felt that she had sent Yushang flying just now. Junior Patriarch Rita, don't look like you're going to swallow me. I didn't use any despicable means. I used one of the celestial fox's inheritances, grafting flowers on trees. Yushang chuckled. She had no sympathy for the behemoth warrior who took a hit for her. The behemoth warrior who had taken Yushang's place died before he could catch his breath. The warriors of the behemoth clan were grief-stricken. Rita's eyes also turned red. Grafting flowers on trees? There was actually such an inheritance in the celestial fox tribe. Lu Yunshuang and everyone else felt chills run down their spines. What a tyrannical celestial fox inheritance. It forcefully transferred the enemy's attack to another person. The whole process was impossible to guard against. Since when did the inheritance of celestial fox have such an unreasonable inheritance? Could this be an inheritance unique to the bloodline of Yudu? From spectral eyes to grafting flowers onto trees, this jade garment of Yudu wasn't simple. Don't worry too much. Such a heaven-defying inheritance must have its limitations. Although Yunxing was also shocked, she still comforted Lu Yunshuang. Yunxing thought that if Yushang's inheritance was truly flawless, it would be invincible. No one was perfect and no inheritance was perfect. Therefore, Yushang's inheritance, grafting flowers onto trees, must have its own weaknesses. Yunxing's guess was right. Yushang's celestial fox inheritance was indeed heaven-defying, but it also had many limitations. After grafting flowers onto trees was used once, it could not be used a second time within a day. Moreover, the target had to be within 10 feet of the user. Beyond this distance, the inheritance could not be used. Otherwise, with Yushang's personality, she would have chosen either Yunxing or Lu Yunshuang to be the target. After all, Yunxing and Lu Yunshuang were Yushang's biggest competitors in this celestial fox combat examination. The behemoth warrior just now was also unlucky. He was standing within 10 feet of Yushang, and Yushang wanted to take the opportunity to teach Rita a lesson, so she grabbed a behemoth warrior and made him her scapegoat. Haha Rita, you really deserve it this time. Silver Rock of the Winged Rocks and the other warriors were gloating. Yushang looked relaxed on the surface, but she was actually gnashing her teeth in anger. Grafting flowers onto trees was one of Yushang's secret moves. Due to her special status, Yushang did not want to reveal her inheritance too early. However, she did not expect Rita to be so ruthless. She used Rita's peerless strike right from the start. Yushang did not have any room to maneuver, so she had no choice but to use grafting flowers onto trees. Miss Yushang, you're really smart. Grafting flowers onto trees is a good move. I've seen so many celestial fox inheritances, and Miss Yushang's inheritance is definitely among the top 5. Silver Rock's eyes lit up, and he looked at Yushang in a different light. Silver Rock's praise offended the other celestial fox saintess candidates, especially Hu Lingling. She was originally very happy because Yushang's victory meant that they would be able to enter the ancient seal. However, Yushang's inheritance was truly terrifying. If she had used this transplant on her just now, wouldn't she have turned into a pile of blurry meat paste like that behemoth warrior? Qinyu, who was watching from the side, was both frightened and happy. She thought to herself that compared to Yu Shang's inheritance, Hua Yanluo's and Feng Lian's inheritances were nothing. If she had the chance to devour Yu Shang's heart, would she also have the chance to cultivate such a powerful inheritance? You're called Yu Shang, right? You're good, Rita said through gritted teeth. Since she had lost, Rita had no choice but to step aside. With that, the remaining 10 or so Celestial Fox Saintess candidates from the Celestial Fox tribe were all qualified to enter the Ancient Seal. I've said it before. Even without that lowly heavenly fox, we can still enter the Ancient Seal. Hu Linglong had a complacent look on her face. At this point, the factions that had entered the Ancient Seal were clearly distinguished. Yunxing, Lu Yunshuang and the leader of the Winged Rocks were in the same group. Yu Shang, Hu Linglong, Qinyu and the others were also in the same group. Rita led her behemoth warriors while Silver Rock led the Winged Rocks warriors into the ancient sealed area. This is the ancient seal? Why is it a valley? Yun Xing and Lu Yunshuang were in a hurry, so they did not manage to get much information about the ancient seal from Boss Rock. The ancient seal is actually the place where the ancestors of the 8 Wilderness Continent arrived when they first arrived at the 8 Wilderness Continent. It said that this area belonged to the natives of the 8 Wilderness Continent and was owned by a very powerful magical beast kingdom. In order to survive in the 8 Wilderness Continent, the ancestors and the native magical beasts fought to the death. It's safe to say that almost half of the ancestors of the Bakra orcs are buried here, Boss Rock whispered to Yun Sheng and the others. Chapter 1252. Since the 3 Winged Rocks had already told their 2 good friends about the situation in the Ancient Seal, the people of the Beaming Clan and the Winged Rocks clan more or less knew about the Ancient Seal. In comparison, Hu Linglong and the others knew the least. The Ancient Seal in the 8 Desolation Mountain Range was formed by a semi-sealed valley. At a glance, the entrance of the valley was desolate. The soil in the valley was slightly red as if it was soaked in blood. There was only one entrance to the valley. The entrance was filled with thick fog all year round, making it difficult to see what was inside the valley. Let's go in. Rita of the Beaming Tribe led her warriors into the valley. Don't let the Beaming Tribe take the lead. Let's follow. Yingpeng was not to be outdone. He led a group of Peng warriors and disappeared into the thick fog. Let's go. Hu Linglong and the other Celestial Fox Saintess candidates followed closely behind. Yu Shang stood at the entrance of the valley for a moment as if she was recalling something. In the end, she also entered the valley. Boss Peng, you're the most familiar with the terrain. Lead the way. Yun Sheng and the other 2 entered the valley. Not long after everyone entered the Ancient Seal, a black figure flashed past and headed to the other side of the 8 Desolation Mountain Range. Deputy Patriarch, the Beaming Tribe, Celestial Fox Tribe and Peng Tribe are all inside. This subordinate has personally witnessed the behemoths Rita, the Peng Feathers Silver Peng, the Heavenly Fox Tribes Hu Linglong, and the others have all entered the Ancient Seal. A black Qilin tribe warrior respectfully knelt in front of the man. The man had a tall nose and a cold gaze. The dark aura emitted from his tall figure was intimidating. The former emperor of the later Qin dynasty, Duguxiu, and the current deputy patriarch of the Black Qilin tribe, also appeared in the 8 Desolation Mountain Range. However, the Beaming Tribe and the Peng Tribe were different. Their encampments were far away from the Ancient Seal. In the encampment, there were close to 1,000 Black Qilin warriors. They wore iron armor and held sharp bayonets. They were very disciplined. In the Black Qilin tribe's encampment, pillar-shaped objects were actually placed in disorder. If Boss Peng Yu Shang and the others were here, they would realize that these pearl-shaped objects were the 8 Wastelands inheritance pillars that countless Bakra orcs sought after. Most of these inheritance pillars were intact. It looked like they had been forcefully taken out. Not only were there totems of the Black Qilin tribe on the heritage bamboo, there were also many other Bakra orcs' heritage pillars. Behemoth, Celestial Fox, Peng Feather. Unfortunately, they are all middle and lower level beasts. The people of the 9 Wan tribe and the D clan have not come. Duguxiu looked at the valley where the Ancient Seal was located. That valley was really strange. If he hadn't been fully prepared this time, he might have lost a lot of people in the valley. The Beaming Tribe, the Peng Tribe and the weakest tribe, the Celestial Fox Tribe, actually dared to barge in. What awaited them was not the inheritance pillar, but the terrifying traps and the battle spirits of the ancient battlefield. Under Duguxiu's fiery red hair, his eyes were as deep as an empty well. Vice Clan Leader, you have great foresight. Luckily, we entered the Ancient Seal early and collected a large number of inheritance pillars. Beaming, Pink Feather, and even Boss Pink Feather didn't expect that the first tribe to rush to the ancient seal was the Black Qilin tribe. When the three Pink demons leaked the news of the ancient seal, the people of the Black Qilin tribe mixed in with the Behemoth tribe, and the Pink Feather tribe had already set their sights on this mountain range. He Yao immediately accepted Duguxiu's fate and headed to the ancient seal. Duguxiu didn't disappoint. In the ancient seal he obtained a large number of inheritance pillars. The Black Qilin tribe's inheritance pillars were all collected. As for the inheritance pillars of the other tribes, Duguxiu had already taken away those that were convenient. Those that couldn't be taken away were mostly the more troublesome or ineffective inheritance pillars. It's a pity that the seal around the eye of the seal cannot be broken. Duguxiu's only regret was that he couldn't find the eye of the seal after entering the ancient seal. There was a very strong barrier around the eye of the seal. Even if Duguxiu used all his strength, he couldn't successfully enter. Even the vice clan leader couldn't enter, not to mention the descendants of the Bang tribe. The warriors of the Black Qilin tribe were very obedient to Duguxiu. Who would have thought that when Duguxiu first came to the Black Qilin tribe, the entire Black Qilin tribe was dissatisfied with him? This continued until he defeated the number one warrior of the Black Qilin tribe in a public competition. After that, he displayed no less talent than the patriarch of the Black Qilin tribe in the handling of the tribe's affairs. Only then was the injustice in the tribe suppressed. This time, if the descendants of the three great Bakra orcs were successfully killed in the ancient seal, the vice clan leader's reputation in the Black Qilin tribe would undoubtedly rise to another level. Don't lower your guard. During this period of time, all of you will guard beside the ancient seal. If you discover any survivors, kill them without mercy. Duguxiu said coldly. He looked at the inheritance pillars that he had collected and ordered the Black Qilin warriors under him to transport a portion of them back to the Black Qilin tribe. Duguxiu gave up everything in the boundless land and came to the Bang tribe. How could he be satisfied with just being the vice clan leader? In these few years, he had been in seclusion in the Black Qilin tribe and painstakingly cultivated under the supercilious eyes of everyone. To Duguxiu, who was once the later Qin emperor and stood above millions of people, this was undoubtedly a kind of torture. Fortunately, those days didn't last for long. Regardless of whether it was the Bang tribe or the boundless land, there was one thing that was constant and unchanging. That was, the strong were everything. His goal wasn't as simple as defeating the number one warrior of the Black Qilin tribe. He Lin, that arrogant woman, she would eventually be defeated by him. In this Bang tribe competition, Duguxiu wanted to use his own strength to obtain first place in the Bang tribe competition. As long as he obtained first place, he would be qualified to enter the Beast God altar and receive the strongest baptism of the Beast God altar. He would also be able to meet the legendary first priest of the Beast God altar. Only the first priest could help him break the curse of the ancient Qilin king, the Celestial Fox tribe. Hearing this familiar name, Duguxiu's heart that had been silent for a long time started to beat vigorously again. Yinxing. That woman, his woman, he didn't know how she was doing now. When he stepped onto the peak of the Bang tribe, it would be the time for him to kill his way back to the boundless land and take back the woman that he hated and loved. Chapter 1253. After passing through the white mist in the valley, Yun Sheng and the others finally entered the ancient seal. The moment they stepped into the ancient seal, Yun Sheng felt her eyelids twitch violently. An ominous premonition crept up from the soles of her feet. She had a nagging feeling that something was amiss with this ancient seal. Perhaps I'm being paranoid. With Boss Pingyu around, there shouldn't be any slip-ups. Yun Sheng steadied her emotions. Yun Sheng was different from the others. Although they had the smallest number of people, they had Boss Pingyu in disguise in their camp. The three Ping demons had entered the ancient seal before. Although they were forced to retreat in the end, they managed to escape successfully in the end. This also meant that after Yun Sheng and the others entered the ancient seal this time, Yun Sheng and the others would have a much greater chance of escaping from the seal. So many inheritance pillars. The other tribes who had entered the ancient seal before Yun Sheng and the others, including Hu Linglong and the others, let out joyful cries of surprise. Unlike the narrow entrance to the valley, after entering the valley, the terrain was much more open. Many inheritance pillars were planted on the wide mountain path in the valley. For most Bakra orcs on the mainland, apart from a small number of Bakra orcs nobles and direct bloodlines, very few people could directly come into contact with the inheritance pillars. It was no wonder that the crowd cheered so loudly. Yun Sheng, look, there are inheritance pillars here too. Not far from Yun Sheng and Lu Yunshuang were 2 or 3 inheritance pillars. This was also Yun Sheng's first time seeing a real inheritance pillar. Previously, when she had studied Celestial Fox's inheritance, she had either relied on her own comprehension or the inheritance she had copied down. The inheritance pillars looked as if they had been carved out of ivory. Each pillar was as white as jade. Every inheritance pillar represented the sacrifice of an ancient beast descendant of the 8 Desolates. Only right before their deaths would the beasts of the 8 Desolates condense their cultivation into an eternal inheritance pillar. Even someone as aloof as Lu Yunxuang could not help but feel her soul sway when she saw the painstaking efforts left behind by her ancestors. Don't be happy too early. This is just the outermost area of the seal. These inheritance pillars are also the most inferior inheritance pillars. Most of the inheritances recorded on them have already lost their effectiveness. Boss Rockfeather had been to this region before. When the 3 Ping Devils entered the valley, they were pleasantly surprised for a while. However, when they saw it clearly, disappointment replaced surprise. Yun Sheng and Lu Yunxuang walked forward and found that the pillars were completely blank. It's a pity that too much time has passed. The power of inheritance on the inheritance pillar has already dissipated, Lu Yunxuang lamented. Ladies, there's something I need to remind you of. Before you find the most suitable inheritance pillar for you, even if you find one that's still effective, don't touch the pillar. Otherwise, if you touch the inheritance pillar rashly and are forced to learn the inheritance pillar will be full and you won't be able to comprehend more advanced inheritances. Then the loss will outweigh the gain. Boss Rockfeather was the most experienced among the 3 of them. He also knew the most about inheritance pillars. He told Yun Sheng and the others that different Bakra orcs had left behind different inheritance pillars. For example, most of the inheritance pillars of the Celestial Fox tribe were engraved with the symbol of the Celestial Fox. It was the same for other beast tribes. Since each Bakra orcs could only obtain a limited number of inheritances, Yun Sheng and Lu Yunxuang could only choose the most suitable inheritance pillar for them to absorb. I can still absorb 2 inheritances. Lu Yunxuang was a 5-tailed celestial fox. She had already comprehended 3 inheritances. I can also absorb 2 inheritances. Looks like we can only go deeper and make a decision later. Yun Sheng had already comprehended 4 inheritances. After witnessing Yu Shang's special inheritance of grafting, Yun Sheng also understood that she could not be blindly greedy when choosing an inheritance. She had to combine her own strength and try her best to choose the strongest inheritance that she could withstand. Just as Boss Rockfeather had said, the stronger the inheritance, the deeper it was in the ancient seal. Now was not the time to be happy. TSK, what a scam. They're all blank. Isn't this making us happy for nothing? A Rockfeather tribe warrior happily found an inheritance pillar. However, when he approached it, he found that it was an empty inheritance pillar. He was instantly enraged and punched the inheritance pillar. With this punch, the inheritance pillar cracked. The moment the stone chips flew up, a wisp of green smoke drifted out from the inheritance pillar. The green smoke formed a war specter with a green face and sharp fangs. It held a bloody battle axe in its hand and was more than 2 meters tall. It was a war specter from the Beaming tribe. The inheritance pillars were left behind by the ancestors of the ancient Beaming tribe. Each inheritance pillar was like an ancient ancestor of the Beaming tribe and should be revered by all. This Rockfeather tribe warrior had rashly desecrated the inheritance pillars and attracted the war specter. The war specter was full of murderous aura. It swung its huge, murderous axe and slashed at the Rockfeather tribe warrior. Blood splattered everywhere. Woo-woo, Reckless Jr., how dare you look down on the ancient power? The war specter tasted blood and howled like a wolf or a tiger. As it howled, the empty inheritance pillars cracked. War specters of different races of Bakra orcs appeared from each inheritance pillar. There were Beaming tribe warriors, Rockfeather tribe warriors, Bosserpent warriors, and others. In an instant, a large number of war specters appeared in the originally empty valley. These war specters immediately transformed into their beast forms. Their attack power was astonishing. In the blink of an eye, they killed many Beaming tribe warriors. This is bad. Let's go. Boss Rockfeather yelled. Yun Sheng and Lu Yunxuang also knew that the situation was not good. These specters transformed from the inheritance pillars were powerful. There were many of them. If they surrounded them, no matter how skilled they were, they would not be able to escape. Silver Rock, look at what your subordinates have done. Rita was also flustered and exasperated. She led a group of Beaming tribe warriors and charged into the war specters, trying to carve out a bloody path. Boss Rockfeather had been to the ancient seal before, so he was very familiar with the paths in the valley. He led Yun Sheng and the others and quickly fled the scene. However, at that moment Yun Sheng heard a wave of magical energy behind them. Yushang led a group of Celestial Fox Tribe Saintess candidates. They were almost side by side as they retreated toward the safe zone. Why was she so familiar with the terrain here? Yun Sheng could not help but wonder. Boss Rockfeather had been here before, so it was not strange that he knew the path. However, how could Yushang be so familiar with the path as well? The area up ahead is safe. Follow me. Yushang also looked at Yun Sheng and the others strangely. However, the situation was urgent and she had no time to pay attention to Yun Sheng and the others. Chapter 1254. Rita and Silver Rock soon noticed that Yun Sheng, Yushang, and the others had found a safe path. Follow them. The warriors of the Behemoth and Winged Peng tribes, who had been fighting a bloody battle, joined the ranks of those fleeing after breaking through the encirclement of the war spirits. After running for half an hour, the war spirits were still in hot pursuit. If I remember correctly, there should be an inheritance light pillar ahead. Those boundaries should be able to resist the war spirits to a certain extent. The eldest Winged Peng tribe leader could not reveal his identity, so he did not dare to use his full strength along the way. He was still carried by Yun Sheng and Lu Yunshuang by one arm each as they fled. The few Saintess candidates from the Celestial Fox tribe were also drenched in sweat. Fortunately, these Celestial Fox Saintess candidates did not suffer any casualties because they had escaped in time. In comparison, the Behemoth and Winged Peng tribes were in a much worse state. Especially the Winged Peng tribe. As they had directly provoked the war spirits, dozens of their warriors were killed by the war spirits. Unlike the scattered inheritance pillars in the periphery, most of the inheritance pillars in the central region were left behind by the true powerhouses of the ancient Bakra orcs. Compared to the periphery of the valley, the boundaries here were stronger. Some of the weaker Behemoth and Winged Peng warriors could not break through the boundaries and could only stay on the periphery. Even in death, they still retained the pride of a powerhouse. The will of the powerhouses formed this boundary, preventing the war spirits from advancing. Not only was there a boundary in this region, but not all Bakra orcs could enter. This boundary was to select the most suitable descendants of the Bakra orcs to enter the boundary. However, everyone could not stay in this boundary for more than 3 days and 3 nights. Otherwise, they would be automatically ejected by the boundary. Only the true powerhouses of the Bakra orcs could gain the recognition of the masters of these ancient inheritance pillars and obtain the superior inheritance. As expected, the war spirits were blocked outside the light pillars. They fought with the Behemoth and Winged Peng warriors who could not enter the boundary. The battle was tragic. Faced with such a situation, Rita and Silver Rock could do nothing but rage. When they entered the ancient seal, they knew that there would be casualties. However, when they saw that the Celestial Fox tribe, which was the weakest tribe, was unharmed, they could not help but feel even more frustrated. How did you know the route in the valley? Rita questioned Yushang and the others. Young clan leader Rita, you're wrong. We're not the only ones running. Yushang glanced at Yun Sheng, implying that they were just following the others. There are only a few paths in the valley, Silver Rock orcs, Silver. On the other hand, young clan leader Silver Rock, I'll have to trouble you to discipline your subordinates properly. If it weren't for them breaking the inheritance pillar, it wouldn't have attracted any war aura. Young patriarch, this subordinate's mind was muddled for a moment. When this subordinate approached the inheritance pillar, this subordinate felt a voice in his head telling this subordinate to break the inheritance pillar. The Winged Peng warrior who had rashly broken the inheritance pillar hurriedly knelt on the ground and begged for forgiveness. It's not just him. At that time I was also annoyed, many Winged Peng and Behemoth warriors said. This matter is a little strange. The Winged Peng's leader wanted to say something but stopped. He remembered that the last time he entered the ancient seal, something similar did not happen. Whatever, it has already happened. Fortunately, the boundary here can block the war spirits of orcs. However, what's with these inheritance light pillars? Rita saw that the damage was done and did not want to pursue the matter. The situation was different from when they first entered the valley. They were now in the central region of the valley. The terrain here was very similar to the outer region. There were also some inheritance light pillars. However, these inheritance light pillars were not naturally distributed like the outer region. The number of inheritance light pillars here was much less than the outer region. Each inheritance light pillar was not inserted into the ground like the outer region's inheritance light pillars. Instead, they were suspended in the air. The inheritance light pillars were enveloped by a light beam. The light beam extended from the ground to the air and formed a protective barrier. It enveloped the inheritance light pillars inside. If they wanted to obtain the inheritance light pillars inside, they would have to break through the protective light beams. Young clan leader, the inheritance light pillars have our Silver Rock clan's ancestral mark. There are energy ripples on them. After discovering that the inheritance light pillars and the protective light beams were effective, the Silver Rock clan's warriors who were still immersed in the pain of losing their soldiers all became excited. They had come here to find the inheritance light pillars. The inheritance of the ancient Silver Rock clan was much more important than the lives of the Silver Rock clan's warriors. What are you waiting for? This young clan leader has given the order. The inheritance light pillars inside will belong to whoever can break through the protective light beams. Greed appeared in the Silver Rock clan's eyes. However, with the lesson from earlier, he was still cautious. What if the inheritance light pillars and the protective light beams hid some powerful war spirits? He was not willing to take such a risk. Thus he encouraged his subordinates to try first. Rita, on the other hand, was observing from the side. Yunsheng, what should we do? Lu Yunshuang and the Rock clan's eldest brother were also eager to try. They had also discovered some inheritances of the Rock clan and the Celestial Fox people around them. In terms of fame and age, Lu Yunshuang and the Rock clan's eldest brother were above Yunsheng. However, along the way the two of them had unknowingly begun to view Yunsheng as their backbone. Don't act rashly for now. As soon as Yunsheng said this, the two of them nodded in agreement. Yunsheng looked at Yushang. She did not move. On the other hand, Hu Linglong and the other Celestial Fox Saintess candidates all looked eager to try. For some reason, Yunsheng felt that Yushang was a little strange ever since they entered the Ancient Seal. She had a feeling that Yushang was also very familiar with the Ancient Seal. The Rock clan's warriors were the first to make a move. A Rock clan warrior chose an inheritance light pillar, gathered his fighting aura, and struck it with his palm. Even a boulder would be pulverized by that palm strike. However, when it landed on the inheritance light pillar, it only shook a little before the inheritance light pillar returned to normal. The Rock clan warrior did not give up. He attacked a few more times, but he could not break the inheritance light pillar. Helpless, several Rock clan warriors could only combine their strength and attack one of the inheritance light pillars. Under the combined attack of 3 or 4 people, the inheritance light pillar, which had been indestructible all this while, finally cracked. Crack. Like glass shattering, the light pillar's light barrier that enveloped the inheritance light pillar finally gave in and shattered. However, the moment the light pillar shattered, the inheritance light pillar inside was also shattered by the combined strength of 3 or 4 Rock clan warriors. Chapter 1255. The inheritance pillar collapsed with a loud crash. The power of the inheritance on it also dissipated at once. There was no way to absorb it anymore. Fortunately, after this inheritance pillar was shattered, no battle aura emerged from it. TSK, what a waste. Silver Rock, you've always mocked the beaming tribe for our brute strength. Look at your subordinates, all of them are clumsy, Rita mocked when she saw this. This inheritance light pillar was a mixture of the great inheritances of the Bakra orcs. The number of inheritances of the Winged Rock tribe was very limited. Shattering one inheritance light pillar meant one less Winged Rock inheritance. Thinking of this, Silver Rock tribe leader could not help but feel the pinch. These damned inheritance light pillars. If they were too weak, they would not be able to break the barrier. If they were too strong, they would shatter the inheritance light pillars inside. This undoubtedly made things very difficult for everyone. However, after seeing that the inheritance light pillars were shattered without any abnormalities, everyone felt relieved and began to search for suitable inheritance light pillars of their tribe. Rita also ordered her beaming warriors to search for suitable inheritance light pillars of the beaming tribe. However, she did not act rashly. Instead, she walked around as if she was looking for something. Hu Linglong's Celestial Fox Saintess candidates also began to search for Celestial Fox inheritance light pillars. Yun Sheng and Lu Yunshuang were also sizing up the inheritance light pillars around them. One of them was a 6-tailed Celestial Fox, while the other was a 5-tailed Celestial Fox. They were not interested in ordinary Celestial Fox inheritances. At this moment, Boss Winged Rock suddenly spoke. Miss, I have a presumptuous request. I wonder if you'll agree to it? Boss Winged Rock said in a low voice. Last time, the 3 Winged Rock demons had stopped here. At that time, the 3 demons had taken a fancy to an inheritance light pillar in this area. Unfortunately, with the 3 brothers' strength at that time, they were unable to open that inheritance light pillar. Helpless, the 3 brothers could only leave the sealed area with regret. We're all in the same boat now. Feel free to speak your mind. Yunxing had thought it through. Since she intended to subdue Boss Winged Rock and Lu Yunshuang, she should be honest with them. The 3 of them were now in the same boat. They had to face the behemoth, the winged rock race, and Yu Shang, whose strength was unknown. If the three of them were strong, it meant that the entire team would be strong. Their chances of leaving the ancient seal would also be higher. I won't hide it from the two of you. There is an inheritance of the winged ping race in this area. It's called the ancient golden peng art. However, I can't break that light inheritance by myself. Therefore, I hope that the two of you can help break that inheritance light beam together. Boss Feather Rock coughed a few times. The ancient golden rock art? Are you talking about the ancient golden rock technique that allows the feathered rocks to be reborn into the ancient golden rock king? Lu Yunshuang revealed a curious expression when she heard this. Miss, you're exaggerating. How can the golden rock bloodline be obtained so easily? The ancient golden rock art could only partially modify the featherbird race's bloodline, allowing them to possess the golden rock body for a short period of time. However, if he can fully comprehend the ancient golden rock technique, there is still hope for him to become the golden rock king. Although the winged ping race had always viewed him as a traitor, Boss Feather Rock still held the ancient golden rock king in high esteem. Although he had received Yun Sheng's help to escape his deformed fate, if he wanted to be truly acknowledged by the winged ping race, he would need to possess a portion of the ancient golden rock king's bloodline. Although the winged ping race was not like the celestial fox tribe, which was divided into one-tailed, two-tailed, and so on, the winged ping race was divided into various ranks such as the golden rock, silver rock, and so on. However, since ancient times, the Golden Rock King's bloodline had been one of the noblest bloodlines in the Winged Ping race. In the current Winged Ping race, only the old chief had a portion of the Golden Rock King's bloodline in him. Even the young chief of the Silver Rock clan only had the Silver Rock bloodline in him. If Boss Feather Rock could obtain the ancient Golden Rock art, it would mean that he had the right to compete with the old chief of the Winged Ping race. After Boss Feather Rock finished speaking, he still felt a little uneasy. He also knew that Yun Sheng was a member of the Celestial Fox tribe. For the sake of a wanted criminal, would she be willing to risk offending the Winged Ping race and help him? If that's the case, what are we waiting for? I've long disliked that young chief of the Winged Ping race. I'm more than happy to let him cause a ruckus with the Winged Ping race. Yun Sheng flashed a set of white teeth. Lu Yunshuang watched from the side. No matter how she looked at Yun Sheng's smile, she felt that there was something sinister about it. A smile that was somewhat similar to Yun Sheng's slowly spread across her icy face. Boss Feather Rock was stunned. By the time he came back to his senses, the two women had already abandoned the celestial fox inheritance beams that they looked down on and walked forward. Meanwhile, the young chief of the Winged Ping race, Silver Rock, was ordering his subordinates to search for the Winged Ping race's inheritance beams. Don't you feel that something is off? Yun Sheng suddenly felt that something was off. What's wrong? Lu Yunshuang did not understand. Along the way just now, I've seen the inheritance pillars of almost all the tribes. Only, there are very few inheritance pillars of the few major beast clans, especially the Black Qilin tribe. There's almost no inheritance pillar of the Black Qilin tribe. Yun Sheng was very attentive. She had been carefully observing along the way. In this stretch of inheritance beams, most of them belonged to the middle and lower beast clans. Among the beast clans, there were very few inheritance beams of the Nine Wan tribe and the D clan. There were only 2 or 3 inheritance beams of the Black Qilin tribe. However, there was not a single inheritance beam of the Black Qilin tribe. Logically speaking, the beast clans of the 8 Wastelands continent had arrived at the 8 Wastelands mountain range together. They had also fought against the native magical beasts of the 8 Wastelands continent. There was no reason why the other Bakra orcs had left their inheritance beams behind, but not the Black Qilin tribe. After being reminded by Yun Sheng, Lu Yunshuang and Boss Feather Rock looked around. It was just as Yun Sheng had said. Perhaps it's because the Black Qilin tribe was the strongest. That's why fewer powerful fighters were sacrificed. Only the warriors of the Bakra orcs who died would leave their inheritance beams behind, Boss Feather Rock said. That might be a reason, but it still feels a little too far-fetched. Yun Sheng still felt that there was something strange about the ancient seal. However, just as Yun Sheng was thinking carefully, there was a commotion in front of them. Silver Rock was leading a few Feather Rock warriors and surrounding an inheritance beam. Boss Feather Rock's expression changed abruptly when he saw Silver Rock's actions. He was still one step too late. The inheritance beam of the ancient golden rock technique had been discovered. That is the inheritance pillar with the ancient golden rock technique that you spoke of. It seems that there are quite a few people who have their eyes on this inheritance pillar. Yun Sheng understood. That's right. I didn't expect that young clan leader Feather Rock would also discover it. Boss Feather Rock stared at the inheritance beam with reddened eyes. Chapter 1256. The ancient golden rock art was an extremely rare bloodline inheritance of the Featherping race. Junior Master, our luck is pretty good. This inheritance light beam is much more unstable than the other light beams. Hurry up and attack. You'll definitely be able to break it and obtain the ancient golden rock art, said one of the Featherbird race's lackeys. Indeed, compared to the other inheritance light beams, this inheritance light beam was much dimmer. Furthermore, it was very obvious that someone had attempted to break it but failed in the end and had no choice but to give up. Truly a blind cat meeting a dead mouse. That brat got lucky. Boss Ping gnashed his teeth in hatred. Needless to say, the reason why the inheritance light beam's power was greatly reduced was because of the efforts of the 3 Ping demons. The 3 Ping demons had spent a total of 3 days and 3 nights on this inheritance light beam. However, just as the inheritance light beam was about to be broken, due to time constraints, they were forced out of the spirit formation region. It could be said that they had failed on the verge of success. In terms of strength and talent, Boss Peng believed that he was not inferior to Silver Rock in any aspect. That brat only had a good background. He had a golden spoon in his mouth and was the clan leader's grandson. Boss Peng, don't be disappointed. So what if you've taken a fancy to it? As long as the inheritance light beam is not absorbed, we still have a chance. If it's yours, it'll still be yours. Yun Xing chuckled and made a hand gesture, indicating that Boss Peng should not give up. On the other side, Silver Rock young clan leader was also drooling over the ancient golden rock technique in the inheritance light beam. The Bahuang clan competition was imminent. At this time, if he could obtain the ancient golden rock technique and transform himself into a golden rock, the Peng clan might be able to hold their heads high in the Bahuang clan competition. They might be able to break free from the middle-level beast clan and become a high-level beast clan. Idiot, can't this young clan leader see that this spirit formation is already very weak? Do I need you to remind me? It's precisely because it's weak that it's difficult. If this young clan leader had used a bit more strength, the ancient golden rock technique inside would have been ruined. Although Peng clan leader was burning with anxiety, with the lesson from earlier, he did not dare to act on his own accord. However, just watching was not a solution. After all, they could only stay in the spirit formation for 3 days and 3 nights. Just now, they had spent nearly half a day searching for the ancient golden rock technique. The Silver Rock Junior clan leader hesitated. Time passed slowly. The ancient golden rock technique in the light beam made his heart itch. Young clan leader Pengyu, how about I help you with something? Seeing young clan leader Pengyu hesitating, Yun Xing walked forward. Upon seeing Yun Xing, young clan leader Pengyu's back began to ache nervously. He had not forgotten that it was this woman who had shot him in the back. Scram. Since when has it been the turn of a bastard from the Celestial Fox people to meddle in this young clan chief's affairs? Young clan chief Pengyu was on guard and nervous. Young clan head, please don't misunderstand. I don't have any ill intentions. Besides, I'm a Celestial Fox. There's no way for me to learn the Peng clan's inheritance. I purely want to help young clan leader. After all, there's still a bit of a misunderstanding between us, Yun Xing said sincerely. Her beautiful eyes were twinkling. Silver Rock Junior clan leader Pengyu carefully looked at Yun Xing. He discovered that although this Celestial Fox bastard was only a mixed blood, her appearance was not ordinary. Although she was not as enchanting as Yu Shang, there was a trace of temptation in her youthful appearance. Earlier he had not seen it clearly. Now that he saw it clearly, he was immediately blinded by Yun Sheng's beauty. His tone involuntarily became gentler. Even this young clan leader Pengyu has no way. Could it be that you have a way? Silver Rock Junior clan leader Pengyu said unhappily. This young clan leader Pengyu is not talented, but I have a way to break this inheritance light beam. Furthermore, I guarantee that the inheritance pillar inside will not be damaged. Yun Sheng had a look of certainty. Are you serious? Silver Rock Junior clan leader Pengyu was doubtful. You'll know once you try. If you can't break it or damage the inheritance pillar, my subordinates and I will be at your disposal, young clan leader Pengyu, Yun Sheng persuaded. Silver Rock Junior clan leader Pengyu hesitated. Even if the light beam was broken, young clan leader Pengyu would still need time to absorb the inheritance pillar. You really had to hurry. Alright, I'll let you try. Silver Rock Junior clan leader Pengyu ordered his subordinates to open a path. However, he was still somewhat vigilant and did not order his subordinates to retreat. Earlier, he had been shot by Yun Sheng because he was not paying attention. He did not believe that this Celestial Fox mixed blood could still play any tricks when surrounded by so many people. Yun Sheng walked in front of the inheritance light beam. Unlike the others, she did not immediately use magic or force to break it open. First, she focused and carefully observed for a moment. Then, she raised her hand, and a few cold rays of light appeared on her fingertips. Silver Rock Junior clan leader Peng Yu looked carefully. Yun Sheng was holding a few needles between her fingers. Those needles were long and thin. They looked like the needles that women used for embroidery. However, he did not know what she was going to do with these needles at this time. Yun Sheng took a deep breath. The needles in her hand whooshed and disappeared into the inheritance light beam. The moment the needles entered the inheritance light beam, the light beam only trembled slightly. There was not much change. This woman, you can't be thinking of using these needles to break the inheritance light beam, right? What a joke. Silver Rock Junior clan leader Peng Yu thought that Yun Sheng would have some clever tricks up her sleeve. He did not expect her to use these hair-like needles to break the light beam. He was disappointed and felt that it was a waste of time. Young clan leader Peng Yu, please watch. Yun Sheng smiled slightly. Her eyebrows were brimming with confidence. Her hand landed on the light beam. In her palm, the power of the Jade Marrow technique instantly covered the entire inheritance light beam. The power of the soul healing divine needle was instantly released. There was a sound like ice cracking on the light beam. Countless cracks, like centipedes with many legs, densely covered the entire light beam. The cracks widened little by little. The inheritance pillar inside was not affected at all. It really cracked. That's great. Silver Rock and his subordinates beamed with joy. They all crowded around the light beam, especially Silver Rock Junior clan leader Peng Yu. He was afraid that he would miss the best opportunity to obtain the inheritance pillar. Break for me. Yun Sheng Peng Yu's beautiful eyes turned slightly. Bang. With a muffled sound, the inheritance light beam finally shattered. The moment the inheritance light beam shattered, the intense light caused Silver Rock Junior clan leader Peng Yu to close their eyes involuntarily. There was the sound of a great rock spreading its wings. The inheritance pillar of the ancient golden rock art also flew out from the light beam. All of you get out of the way. That inheritance pillar is mine. Silver Rock Junior clan leader Peng Yu was about to rush forward to snatch the inheritance pillar when he felt a stabbing pain on his neck. Immediately, his entire body went numb. Immediately after, a melodious female voice spoke into her ear. Young clan leader Silver Rock, you're wrong. The ancient golden rock art is ours. Chapter 1257. The young patriarch's heart skipped a beat. When the blinding light dissipated, his vision returned to normal. A figure leaped into the air and snatched the inheritance pillar. That person was none other than the silent mountain hunter who had been tailing Yun Sheng and the others earlier. The Silver Rock Junior Patriarch couldn't even remember his name for a moment. How dare you? The Silver Rock Junior Patriarch knew that he had been tricked. He opened his mouth and was about to order his subordinates to snatch the inheritance pillar, but the numbness under his neck became more and more obvious. His consciousness gradually faded, and the Silver Rock Junior Patriarch fainted in front of everyone. Put the young patriarch down. Xiao Yun led a group of Wing Ping warriors to surround Yun Sheng. This celestial fox woman was very cunning. She was clearly pretending to help and taking the opportunity to kidnap the young patriarch. Everyone, don't be nervous. Your young patriarch is fine. He's just been drugged with a little anesthetic. Don't worry, he'll wake up in an hour. However, if you act rashly, I don't mind opening a big hole in his neck. If you're obedient, I'll return him to you. Yun Sheng lifted the young patriarch like a chicken. Her right hand had turned into a ferocious fox claw. The Yama fox claw was aimed at the young patriarch's artery. If she exerted a little force, the young patriarch's blood would spurt out. Xiao Yun and the others were apprehensive and didn't dare to move forward. Boss Peng, there's no time to lose. Absorb the inheritance pillar immediately. Yun Sheng had taken a huge risk just now. Fortunately, she had calculated in time. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to capture the young patriarch. Boss Peng looked gratefully at Yun Sheng. He had been a wanted criminal for so many years. He didn't expect to have the opportunity to learn the first-rate inheritance of the Winged Peng clan at this age. All of this was thanks to Yun Sheng. Moreover, this inheritance had been snatched from the young patriarch of the Winged Peng clan. Back then, it was Silver Rock's grandfather who gave the order to kill the 3 rock devils. If that old man knew that he had snatched the ancient golden rock skill from his grandson, he would probably vomit blood in anger. Thinking of this, Boss Peng Feather's mood improved greatly. He nodded and dripped his blood onto the inheritance pillar. Once the blood touched the inheritance pillar, that meant that this inheritance pillar already belonged to Boss Pengyu. What? He's the boss of the Feathered Rocks? When Xiao Yun and the other Feathered Rocks heard this, they all turned pale with fright. The boss of the Feather Peng race that caused the entire Feather Peng race to tremble in fear had actually been accompanying them the entire time. However, his appearance had undergone such a tremendous change. Unfortunately, it was all too late. The young clan head was still in their hands. Xiao Yun and the others could only return to the Feather Peng clan and make further plans. My apologies for offending you just now. I'll return your young patriarch to you. Seeing that the inheritance pillar had already recognized its master, Yun Sheng also kept her word. She hooked her leg and kicked Silver Rock young clan head away. Her kick was very ingenious. It did not miss Silver Rock young clan head and made him fall flat on his face. Xiao Yun and the others did not dare to be negligent. They hurriedly lifted Silver Rock young clan head up. The way they looked at Yun Sheng and Boss Peng Feather was as if they had seen a ghost. Since Silver Rock young clan head was still unconscious, Xiao Yun could only order the other Feathered Rocks to break as many of the inheritance pillars as possible. However, he also knew that the old patriarch would definitely fly into a rage after losing the ancient Golden Rock skill. Celestial Fox and the people from the Beaming clan had also seen what Yun Sheng had done just now. Yun Sheng, you've really colluded with the 3 Feathered Rocks, Hu Linglong hooted from the side. So what if I've colluded with them? I'll explain everything once I return to the Celestial Fox tribe. Yun Sheng glanced at Yu Shang. Yu Shang had not moved since entering this sealed boundary. Unlike the other Saintess candidates, she did not search for Celestial Fox's inheritance, nor did she help. When she saw Yun Sheng's actions, she only smiled coldly and stood to the side. Don't be so smug. All of us have already obtained a Celestial Fox's inheritance. You and Lu Yunshuang have obtained nothing. This time you're bound to lose. Hu Linglong and the remaining Celestial Fox Saintess candidates all obtained the Celestial Fox's inheritance one after another. There were not many Celestial Fox's inheritances left in the boundary. Even if there were, they were not worthy of the other Saintess candidates' attention. Yun Sheng, we can't go on like this. Lu Yunshuang glanced around. Most of the Beaming and Feathered Rocks warriors had already found the inheritance pillars they wanted. Let's wait a little longer. Yun Sheng was not worried because Yu Shang had not learned the inheritance either. Celestial Fox Girl. Just as Yun Sheng and Lu Yunshuang were still watching, the young chieftain of the Beaming clan, Rita, walked up to them. Lu Yunshuang's face was full of wariness when she saw Rita. Although this young chieftain of the Beaming clan looked very crude, she was much more intelligent than the young chieftain of the Silver Rock clan. They had just offended the young chieftain of the Feathered Rocks. If they offended the young chieftain of the Beaming clan as well, the 2 clans would attack them together. Their situation in the Ancient Seal would become even more dangerous. Don't be nervous. I'm not here to fight. Rita hesitated. Yun Sheng realized that they were not the only ones. Rita had not obtained any inheritance pillars either. Rita was still struggling in her heart. Just like the candidates of the Saintess of the Heavenly Fox tribe, most of the Behemoth warriors had already obtained the inheritance pillars. Only she, as the young matriarch, was still hesitating about what to do. Rita's goal in entering the Ancient Seal was different from the others. I found a beaming inheritance just now. I hope you can help me break the inheritance light beam that I have my eyes on. Once it's done, I, Rita, will owe you a favor. Rita took a deep breath and finally made a difficult decision. Rita had seen how Yun Sheng had plotted against the Feathered Rocks just now. Rita also noticed that Yun Sheng's method of breaking the inheritance light beam was much more ingenious than anyone else's. Yun Sheng did not reject her immediately. She instructed Lu Yunshuang to guard the entrance for the Feathered Rocks while she let Rita lead the way. They arrived at the inheritance light beam that Rita had her eyes on. Is this the inheritance pillar that you want? If I'm not mistaken, this is not a very powerful beaming inheritance pillar. With your strength, you should be able to choose a better inheritance. Yun Sheng had a strange expression on her face. Generally speaking, the strength of the inheritance light beam represented the strength of the inheritance pillar inside. Yun Sheng had thought that the inheritance pillar that a woman with brute strength like the young chieftain Rita had her eyes on would definitely be extraordinary. However, the inheritance light beam before them was not very powerful. With the young chieftain's immense strength, a punch from her would probably shatter the light beam immediately. This was too weak. Chapter 1258. That's right. The inheritance in this inheritance beam is a very ordinary inheritance called the Bone of Beauty. It was left behind by a behemoth woman who was good at changing her appearance. It doesn't have any special effects, but it can change the behemoth's giant-like body and ugly appearance. Rita said shyly. She had always been ashamed of her appearance. She heard that in the ancient seal, there might be an inheritance that could change one's appearance. She fought for this opportunity to go to the Ba Huang mountain range so that she could obtain this inheritance. You want to learn this inheritance just to change your appearance? Is it because of purple? Yunxing laughed. If it was just to change her appearance, why would she take such a big risk to enter the ancient seal? Yunxing had some impression of purple. He should be the man who appeared with green in the Duqian blood realm. In terms of appearance, green and purple were on par. They were indeed the prettiest men among the Bakra orcs. However, compared to green, purple seemed to be colder and unapproachable. If you want to laugh at me, go ahead. A woman with such outstanding looks like you will never understand the difficulties of a person like me. Rita was annoyed. She knew that the women of the Heavenly Fox tribe were not good people. Young clan leader Rita, don't misunderstand. I didn't mean it that way. If you just want to appear in front of purple with a new appearance, you don't need to find the inheritance beam. I have a magic called disguise magic that can change one's appearance. However, you are a warrior. If you want to learn magic, you might have to start from scratch. You might need some time to learn this magic. Yunxing sighed. No, I hope to completely change the appearance of a behemoth. Magic is just an illusion. I want to be with purple forever. Rita's face was red. At this moment, Rita was like a young girl who was in love for the first time. Alright, since that's the case, I'll lend you a hand. Yunxing rubbed her forehead. She was touched by young clan leader Rita's devotion to her. When Rita heard that Yunxing had agreed, she was overjoyed and hugged Yunxing. Cough cough. Rita, can you be gentler? My bones are going to be broken by you, Yunxing thought to herself. She wondered who would be the stronger one between the sheep and Rita. Thinking of Papaya, Yunxing's consciousness sobered up a little. In the ancient seal there was no obvious flow of time. As such, they had no idea what was going on in the outside world. Yunxing didn't spend much effort to break the behemoth inheritance light beam that had the bone of beauty sealed within. The moment the inheritance pillar flew out, young clan leader Rita leaped up and kept the inheritance pillar in her arms. Thank you. I, Rita, will remember your kindness today. Rita gave Yunxing a fist salute and bowed. Then, she took the bone of beauty's inheritance pillar and went to the side to study it. Since Yunxing had helped Rita, the warriors of the behemoth tribe treated Yunxing better. Yunxing, something seems wrong with Boss Pengyu. Not long after Yunxing broke the inheritance light beam for Rita, Lu Yunshuang was guarding Boss Pengyu. A day had passed, but Boss Pengyu still hadn't learned the ancient golden rock technique. Seeing that something was wrong, Yunxing quickly went forward to check. She saw Boss Pengyu sitting cross-legged beside the inheritance pillar. The inheritance pillar was suspended in the air, and the power of inheritance kept gushing out from it. Perhaps it was because the power of inheritance was too strong, but Boss Pengyu's skin was bursting with veins that looked like golden earthworms. As more and more inheritance energy poured in, Boss Featherpeng's meridians were unable to withstand the inheritance energy and exploded. Blood sprayed out and he was covered in blood. Haha, what an overconfident fellow. A lowly deformed creature actually wants to learn the ancient golden rock technique. Piercing taunts rang in his ears. Young clan leader Pengyu, who was no longer under the effects of anesthesia, walked over with the help of Xiao Yun and the others. When he saw that the ancient golden rock technique's inheritance pillar that he had coveted for so long had been snatched away by Boss Pengyu, he flew into a rage. However, when he saw Boss Pengyu's current situation, Silver Rock gloated. The ancient golden rock technique was extremely domineering. The inheritance pillar even contained a portion of the ancient golden rock king's bloodline. That bloodline was both a danger and an opportunity for the Peng race. If they merged with it properly, they could transform from an ordinary Peng race into a golden rock. But if they merged with it incorrectly, the golden rock king's bloodline would flow in reverse. It was very likely that Boss Pengyu's bloodline would flow in reverse, and his body would explode. Boss Pengyu was undoubtedly going through this extremely dangerous juncture. Shut up. If you jinx me again, I'll sew your mouth shut with a needle. Yunsheng couldn't help feeling cold sweat for Boss Pengyu. You lowly creature, you've actually plotted against me time and time again. What are you standing there for? Turn these two lowly creatures into mincemeat. The numbing effect still hadn't faded from Pengyu's body. Thinking of how he had fallen for this damned celestial fox's tricks because of her beauty, Silver Rock's heart felt like it was being stabbed. He had an urge to skin Yunsheng alive. Silver Rock, stop wailing like a ghost and howling like a wolf. Whoever dares to touch them will be going against my beaming clan. Rita had already absorbed the inheritance power from the inheritance pillar. She brought a group of beaming clan members over. Most of these beaming clan members had obtained a certain amount of inheritance power. At this moment they were gathered together like wolves and tigers. They were confronting the Peng race and no one was willing to give way. Yunxing nodded towards Rita, and Rita laughed straightforwardly. Young clan leader, there isn't much time left. Rather than fighting recklessly, why don't we find a more suitable inheritance pillar? Xiao Yun was more opinionated than Silver Rock. At this moment Boss Pengyu let out a painful howl. I'll go over and take a look. Yunxing didn't have the time to confront the Peng race anymore. She walked over to Boss Pengyu. Her golden eyes narrowed. Boss Pengyu's skin that was covered in blood disappeared. Yunxing could see Boss Pengyu's internal organs clearly. It turned out that there was an inheritance power that was devouring Boss Pengyu's heart. If Boss Pengyu wasn't able to absorb that portion of inheritance power, his heart would be crushed by the violent inheritance power. Yunxing didn't hesitate. She condensed the power of the soul-healing divine needle at the tip of her finger. Her eyes were sharp and her hands were fast. She landed it on Boss Pengyu's chest. When the Golden Rock King's inheritance power met with Yunxing's soul-healing divine needle, it didn't retreat immediately. Instead, it was as if it had met an enemy. The two forces started to fight. Boss Pengyu's complexion was also alternating between red and white. After an entire night, Boss Pengyu's complexion became slightly better. Chapter 1259. Seeing this, Silver Peng and the other Feather Peng warriors looked at each other in dismay. On the second day, the blood on his body began to coagulate and new elastic skin began to grow. Boss Peng let out a long cry. He spread his arms and his golden feathers transformed into a pair of golden wings. Boss Peng Feather shook his body and turned into a large golden rock with a threatening aura. He suddenly transformed into a golden Peng. Every feather on his body shone with golden light. He was a golden Peng. That golden Peng spread its golden wings and circled in the air. The sound of a Peng piercing through the clouds resounded through the entire ancient seal. Boss Peng Feather descended from the sky and turned into a tall and sturdy man. He was no longer Peng Feather's abandoned pawn who hid his head and showed his tail. Boss Peng knelt on one knee and spoke respectfully to Yunxing. From today onwards you are my master. I will be loyal to you for the rest of my life. Boss Peng knew that it was Yunxing who had helped him comprehend the ancient Golden Peng art and obtain a portion of the Golden Peng's blood. Right now he was strong enough to kill any Feather Peng present. It seems that after Boss Peng absorbed this inheritance, he can freely transform into a Golden Peng or a human. Rita sighed when she saw Boss Peng's transformation. The Beaming Tribe's inability to fly had always been a regret for Rita and the other Beaming Tribe members. However, with Boss Peng who had the Golden Peng King's blood, the Feather Peng race was about to change. The Silver Rock Junior Patriarch and the others also realized this. They had originally thought that a deformed Peng like Boss Peng wouldn't be able to comprehend the ancient Golden Peng art. However, this scene mercilessly shattered all their hopes. You damned Heavenly Fox bastard, just you wait and see in the competition. I will definitely let your Heavenly Fox tribe know the consequences of offending my Feather Peng clan. The Silver Peng did not expect that he would only be able to watch as his boss became a Golden Peng. Thus he gnashed his teeth in anger. Even so, the Silver Rock Junior clan leader didn't dare to look for trouble with Boss Pengyu. With the help of the Beaming clan, that cunning Heavenly Fox bastard and Boss Pengyu who had just obtained the Golden Rock King body, the Silver Rock Junior clan leader didn't have absolute confidence in fighting against them. In his anger, Silver Peng could only find a Peng inheritance. He angrily smashed the inheritance light beam and obtained a passable inheritance. 2 days and 2 nights had passed, and more than half of the inheritance pillars in the ancient seal had been shattered. Apart from Yunxing, Lu Yunxuang, and Yushang, most of the others had already received new inheritances. Yunxing, are we still going to wait? Lu Yunxuang was a little anxious. Let's wait a little longer. Yunxing was also very puzzled. She glanced at Yushang. Yushang was like a boulder. She didn't move at all. I just think it's strange that Yushang is too quiet this time. It's a little unusual. She also didn't obtain any inheritances. If you were her, under what circumstances would you give up on the Celestial Fox inheritance that was so close at hand? Yunxing asked Lu Yunxuang. It's very simple. When there's a better inheritance, One naturally won't touch those inferior inheritances, Lu Yunshuang blurted out. Lu Yunshuang blurted out. In fact, she had also noticed that the heavenly fox inheritance in the ancient seal was nothing special. In comparison, among everyone, only Boss Peng's ancient golden Peng art could be considered a superior inheritance. Could it be that Yu Shang is waiting for a better inheritance? But there are no other celestial fox inheritances here? Lu Yunshuang blurted out. This inheritance light beam was the end of the ancient seal. They were surrounded by mountain walls. It was impossible for a new inheritance to appear. No, you're wrong. Don't forget that this is an ancient seal. A seal means there's a so-called eye of the seal. We've been in the valley for so long, but we haven't found the eye of the seal. If I'm not wrong, the eye of the seal is very likely hidden. It requires certain conditions before it can be triggered. Yun Xing wasn't very sure about this either. But if there's really an eye of the seal, how does Yu Shang know about it? Or has she been here before? Lu Yunshuang hesitated and glanced at Yu Shang again. Just as the two women were discussing, Yu Shang stood up and walked up to Yun Xing. Looks like everyone has obtained suitable inheritances. It's about time. Yu Shang smiled. Yu Shang, what do you mean? Hu Linglong and the other celestial fox saintess candidates were confused. Bang bang bang, before Hu Linglong could finish speaking, an inheritance light beam that had not been broken started to shake beside her. It was not just the inheritance light beam beside Hu Linglong. The inheritance light beams beside everyone else started to shake as well. With a series of explosive sounds, the inheritance light beams that hadn't been destroyed actually all exploded on their own. What's going on? Everyone was shocked. When they realized that something was wrong, their first reaction was to leave immediately. However, when they tried to leave the area, they suddenly realized that the ground was shaking and the valley was sinking. Thank you for your hard work, everyone. Thanks to you all for breaking so many inheritance light beams, I was able to successfully open the eye of the seal. Yu Shang's blue-green eyes were full of calculation. As the first saintess of the celestial fox tribe, Yu Shang was one of the ancestors of the first batch of ancient Bakra orcs who had luckily escaped from the boundless land to the Eight Desolates continent. As one of the ancestors of the celestial fox tribe, she had naturally been to this valley before. She had even participated in the construction of the ancient seal here. However, the situation had been urgent at the time. At the last moment, Yu Shang had abandoned the elders of the Tianhu tribe and escaped by herself. The elders of the celestial fox tribe had used their divine power to join forces with the elders of the other tribes to kill the native demonic beasts of the Eight Desolates continent. Before their deaths, the celestial fox elders had left a portion of their inheritance power in the eye of the ancient seal. After the elders had died, they had hidden the eye of the seal that contained the strongest inheritance to prevent the inheritance from falling into the hands of despicable villains with ulterior motives. The eye of the ancient wind seal would only see the light of day after breaking through the outer and middle regions and breaking more than half of the inheritance light beams in the middle region. Yu Shang had not made a move yet because she wanted to wait for the eye of the seal to see the light of day after everyone had exhausted all their strength. Chapter 1260. That damned woman is using us. Everyone could not help but curse Yu Shang for being despicable in their hearts when they heard what she said. No wonder Yu Shang had been so calm and composed after entering the ancient seal and had refused to use any of her strength. She had planned this all along. She was waiting for the eye seal to appear so that she could deal the final blow. Most of the others had used up a lot of their strength when assimilating the power of inheritance from the inheritance pillars. How could they possibly have the strength to resist the powerful pressure from the ancient elders within the eye seal? However, it was already too late when they realized this. The valley was still sinking, and the entire ancient seal seemed to be collapsing. As the ground continued to sink, everyone felt that their spines had suddenly sunk. It was as if an invisible force was burrowing out of the ground and pressing down on everyone's shoulders. What was worse was that the pressure from countless ancient elders from the 8 barren lands gathered together made it impossible for them to rise into the air or escape. They could only endure this terrifying pressure with great difficulty. A warrior from the beaming tribe spat out a mouthful of blood. His shoulders collapsed as he could not withstand the strange force. His bones were instantly crushed. Everyone, concentrate and defend against the external force. Rita could also feel the powerful force. If her guess was right, this was the true power of the ancient seal. After that warrior from the beaming tribe, warriors from the winged rock tribe and the beaming tribe successively succumbed to the terrible pressure from the ground. They either vomited blood and died or their bodies exploded and died. The ancient seal was filled with the stench of blood. It was like hell, and from time to time, people would die violently and scream in agony. Among the candidates for the Saintess, Celestial Fox, there were also several women who died because they could not withstand the powerful pressure. Hu Linglong was still holding on with all her might. She was already cursing Yu Shang in her heart, but now she did not even have the courage to curse. Yun Sheng, I can't hold on any longer. Lu Yunshuang was not in a good condition either. She could feel that her body was slowly being suppressed by that force of might. Her spine was already bent at an abnormal angle, and her bones were about to break at any moment. Lu Yunshuang gritted her teeth. Suddenly, her body transformed into the form of a five-tailed celestial fox. An ice fox crouched on the ground. Not long after Lu Yunshuang transformed into her celestial fox form, Hu Linglong could not hold on any longer and transformed into her fox form as well. For the Bakra orcs, transforming into their beast form would allow them to withstand greater pressure. Although Lu Yunshuang's aura had weakened slightly after transforming into her beast form, her condition was still not very good. Master, you need to hold on for a little longer. If I'm not wrong, the imprint eye is at the bottom. The inheritance below is the strongest inheritance of the Bakra orcs. After Boss Pengyu broke through to become the Golden Rock King, it was also a blessing in disguise. He turned into a golden rock and used his wings to block Yun Sheng. As a result, the pressure exerted on Yun Sheng's body weakened slightly. However, as the valley continued to descend, Boss Pengyu's Golden Rock King form could not hold on any longer. Boss Pengyu, don't force yourself. Remember, if anything happens later, take Yun Shuang away as soon as you have the chance to escape. After you leave, go to Hu Capital and look for the young clan leader of the Nine Luan tribe. Ask him to help me rescue Popo and Hu Rulin no matter what. Yun Sheng pushed Boss Pengyu's wings away and spoke into his ear. She straightened her back and realized that the only ones still standing in the ancient seal were her, Yu Shang, and Rita of the Behemoth tribe. Not bad. I didn't expect there to be someone who could hold on with me. Yu Shang glanced at Yun Sheng and Rita. Yu Shang was not too surprised that Rita was still holding on. The Behemoth tribe was a descendant of the Behemoth tribe that had absorbed part of the giant's blood. It was a purebred Behemoth tribe in Rita, so it was definitely better at resisting the pressure. However, what surprised Yu Shang was that Yun Sheng, a celestial fox hybrid, was still able to hold on under the powerful ancient pressure until now. It was a miracle. However, miracles only happen once. Yu Shang believed that when the eye of the seal completely reappeared, Yun Sheng would explode like the other celestial foxes. If you can do it, then so can we. Yu Shang, who are you? How do you know how to open the eye of the seal? Yun Sheng felt the blood in her body roaring madly. The powerful ancient aura caused her to feel dizzy. She slowly exhaled. Since you're about to die, I'll let you die with a clear understanding. I am Yu Shang, the first celestial fox saintess Hu Yu Shang. Yu Shang chuckled. Hu Yu Shang. This name was completely unfamiliar to Yun Sheng. However, Lu Yunshuang and Hu Linglong, who had already transformed into a five-tailed celestial fox and could not move, could not help but look terrified when they heard this name. Although Hu Yushang was not as famous as the first celestial fox people, Chang Huyen, she was the first celestial fox saintess. Why was Yushang Hu Yushang? Wasn't she supposed to be dead? They were actually competing with the first celestial fox saintess for the title of celestial fox saintess. This was ridiculous. After noticing Lu Yunshuang and Hu Linglong's strange reactions, Yun Xing understood that Hu Yushang's identity was real. I don't care if you're the first celestial fox saintess. Times are changing and so are people. You're just an old woman who should have turned into ashes long ago. What right do you have to call yourself a saintess? Only I, Yun Xing, am the celestial fox saintess, Yun Xing roared angrily. That layer of suppressive force weakened significantly in an instant. You actually... Hu Yushang did not expect Yun Xing to be able to move in the face of such a powerful suppressive force. The layer of red flames that surged around her was scorching hot. It had unintentionally weakened the ancient suppressive force by a lot. There was a hint of fear in Hu Yushang's eyes. At that moment, Yun Xing looked so similar to someone in her eyes. There was once a woman who had made her feel a similar sense of shock. That woman had died many years ago. That damned celestial fox bastard. Why did she look so similar to Hu Yen? Could it be that this woman would really replace her and become the new celestial fox saintess? No, since the heavens had allowed her, Hu Yushang, to go through hardships and be reborn, she would not allow it this time. No one, not even Hu Yen, could stop her. Rumble. There was a heavy rumble. The valley that had been sinking finally came to a stop. Yun Xing, Yu Shang and Rita shuddered at the same time. Their gazes turned to the front. They had finally reached the position of the ancient seal's eye. Regarding the completion of the main text, it would definitely be completed before the end of May. Chapter 1261. In front of them, there were nearly 100 inheritance pillars standing in the midst of the multicolored chaotic light. Unlike any of the inheritance pillars that Yun Sheng and the others had seen before, these inheritance pillars were scattered in a picturesque manner. From the front to the back they stood in 8 different areas. The distribution of the inheritance pillars was clear at a glance. Each area represented a type of Bakra Orc's inheritance. These inheritance pillars were undoubtedly the strongest inheritances in the history of the Bakra Orcs. Every inheritance pillar flashed with a gem-like radiance. These are the true 8 Desolation inheritance pillars, Rita said in a daze when she saw the inheritance pillars. The inheritance pillars in front of them were the true treasures of inheritance. They had paid the price of blood for these inheritance pillars. Most of the warriors from the Behemoth tribe and the Peng tribe couldn't withstand the torture and suffered heavy casualties. Even the young master of the Peng tribe, Yin Peng, had no choice but to transform into a large silver rock and be protected by his subordinates. Even though they had seen the inheritance pillars left behind by the elders, they were powerless to do anything. They could only look at the inheritance pillars with their own eyes. Compared to these inheritance pillars, the earlier ones are simply trash. Yu Shang didn't feel the slightest bit of pity for the losses of the other tribes. The survival of the strong. This was a truth that would never change at any time and under any circumstances. The inheritance pillars varied in distance from Yun Sheng and the others. The closest one was only a dozen meters away, while the furthest one was about 1,000 meters away. Yu Shang brushed her hair and walked toward the inheritance pillars with ease. Yun Sheng and Rita also walked over. They were now in the imprinted eye. The closer they were to the inheritance pillars, the stronger the pressure they could feel. Yu Shang and Yun Xing walked side by side and stood in front of the Celestial Fox inheritance pillar. Rita walked toward the Behemoth inheritance pillar. "Little bastard, you still want to compete with me at a time like this?" Yu Shang had a mocking look on her face. In her opinion, it was already very difficult for Yun Sheng to come this far. "I don't care who you are. Right now we are all standing on the same starting line. We are all going through the last step of the combat test to see who can find the strongest Celestial Fox's inheritance." Yun Sheng ignored Yu Shang's provocation. Her gaze was fixed on the inheritance pillar 1,000 meters away. At the same time, Yu Shang's gaze also landed on the inheritance pillar. Needless to say, that inheritance pillar was the strongest Celestial Fox's inheritance pillar in the ancient seal. "Looks like you and I have the same goal. It's a pity that there's only one strongest inheritance pillar. And it will only belong to me, Hu Yushang. You might not be able to make it there alive." Hu Yushang giggled as if this powerful aura was nothing to her. Rita, who was not far away, looked at the two of them. "These two lunatics are still fighting at a time like this. I just want to know if I can leave this damn place as soon as possible after learning the inheritance." Rita breathed heavily. She did not want the strongest behemoth's inheritance. In fact, even someone like Rita, who had a strong behemoth bloodline, would find it difficult to move around in the ancient seal's eye area. She really did not know how the two Celestial Fox women could withstand such a powerful aura. Rita shook her head and followed Hu Yushang's steps, looking at the behemoth's inheritance pillar in the middle. Yun Sheng was on the right and Yushang was on the left. The two of them stepped forward almost simultaneously. 1 step, 2 steps. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had crossed more than 10 meters without even taking a breath. The first Celestial Fox's inheritance pillar was quickly left behind by the two of them. The second pillar, the third pillar. The two women's footsteps slowed down. There were still about 500 to 600 meters in front of them. Why are you still so stubborn? Look at you, your knees are already shaking." Yu Shang glanced at Yun Sheng. "Aren't you the same? Old people will always be old people. You only walked a few steps and you're already panting like this." Yun Sheng lifted her leaden leg and took a step forward. "You bastard." Yu Shang almost exploded with anger when Yun Sheng kept calling her old people. Yun Sheng was right. Even though Hu Yushang had used the body of the jade garment of Yudu to reappear in the 8 Desolates land, this body was ultimately not her original body. When she used it, it would still be passable. However, even though they were provoking each other, the two of them did not dare to act rashly. They glared at each other, and neither of them dared to attack the other. There was still more than half of the journey left. Neither of them wanted to be distracted at this time. In the imprint, the three women were struggling to move forward. Outside the ancient seal, in the Black Chelan camp on the 8 Wastelands mountain range. Reporting to the deputy chief. Just now there was a change in the ancient seal. The ancient seal disappeared and the entire valley sank. Ever since the other tribes entered the ancient seal, the Black Chelan warriors had been watching the ancient seal day and night. Until this evening, the ancient seal actually disappeared within a quarter of an hour. When the ancient seal disappeared, a strong pressure formed at the original location of the seal. The warriors of the Black Chelan tribe who were patrolling nearby felt their blood boil when they got close. Oh, there's really such a thing? Could it be that the people of the Rock tribe and Beaming tribe found the eye of the ancient seal? Duguxiu's eyes turned cold when he heard this. When he entered the ancient seal, he used all his methods, but he still couldn't find the eye of the ancient seal. He didn't expect that the 2 middle-level beasts would find the eye of the ancient seal by chance. You guys come with me and take a look. Under Duguxiu's command, the elite warriors of the Black Chelan tribe followed Duguxiu and flew to the original location of the ancient seal. When Duguxiu and the others arrived at the ancient seal, they felt a strong pressure. The original location of the ancient seal had turned into a huge crater. They didn't know how deep the crater was, but they could vaguely see a 5-colored light shooting out from the bottom of the crater. It really is the eye of the seal. Duguxiu's face lit up. He waved his hand, and the Black Chelan warriors behind him quickly dived into the depths of the crater. Inside the crater, the competition between Yun Sheng and Yu Shang was still going on. Rita of the Beaming tribe couldn't take it anymore after walking for about 400 meters. In the end, she chose the 4th Beaming inheritance pillar and began to learn how to fuse the 2nd inheritance she obtained from the 8 Wastelands mountain range. Last 300 meters. Because of the strong pressure, Yun Sheng couldn't straighten her back. At this moment, she was like an old woman with a crooked back, walking forward with difficulty. Her clothes were completely soaked with sweat, and she looked like she had just been pulled out of water. Chapter 1262. The last 300 meters. There were only 3 or 4 celestial fox inheritance pillars left. Give up. I don't think you can even take another step, Yu Shang said patiently. You don't seem to be doing much better than me. Yun Sheng glanced at Yu Shang. Although she was still holding on with all her might, her knees were already trembling. Yu Shang and Yun Sheng were both 6-tailed celestial foxes. Logically speaking, their strength shouldn't be too different. However, Yu Shang was cunning. After entering the ancient seal, she didn't use any of her strength. Yun Sheng, on the other hand, had used up a lot of her strength because of Rita and Peng Yu. In this way, Yu Shang had the upper hand. Even so, Yun Sheng still refused to back down. She took a deep breath and crawled like a turtle, forcing herself not to let the ancient pressure crush her spine. She moved slowly. This mixed blood has such strong willpower. A cunning glint flashed across Yu Shang's eyes. Boom. With a loud bang, Yun Sheng's knees hit the ground heavily. Stone chips flew up and scraped her cheeks. The pressure on her body doubled in an instant. Under the powerful ancient pressure, it was extremely difficult for Yun Sheng to increase the pressure by even a little, let alone double the pressure. Yu Shang, you're despicable. Yun Sheng could clearly hear a few ribs under her abdomen cracking. Fortunately, she had the jade marrow technique to protect her internal organs. Otherwise, her internal organs would have exploded at that moment. This feeling was like a 10-story tall building suddenly falling to the ground. One could imagine the feeling. Haha, mixed blood little bastard, how does it feel to be grafted? It turned out that when Yu Shang saw that Yun Sheng was still moving forward, she used the celestial fox inheritance to transfer all her pressure to Yun Sheng. At this time, both of them were exhausted. The sudden increase in pressure was too much for Yun Sheng to bear. She lay on the ground, her chest rising and falling slightly, proving that she was still alive. Yu Shang, on the other hand, had a relaxed expression on her face. She had transferred her oppressive might to Yun Sheng, allowing her to relax in an instant. When she saw this, Lu Yunshuang, who had already transformed into a fox, looked furious. This woman called Yu Shang is really cunning. If we meet her in the future, we need to be careful. Rita was still absorbing the power of inheritance from the behemoth inheritance pillar. When she saw what Yu Shang was doing, she could only shake her head helplessly. Her situation was not much better than Yun Sheng's. For now, she could only try her best to protect herself. Thanks to you, I can finally obtain the strongest celestial fox inheritance. You're pretty tough to be able to still have a single breath left in you. Don't worry, once I've absorbed the strongest celestial fox inheritance, I'll come back and send you on your way. Yushang chuckled and walked forward happily until she reached the last celestial fox inheritance pillar. The celestial fox inheritance pillars in the eye of the ancient seal were different from ordinary inheritance pillars. They seemed to have a mind of their own. When people approached them, they emitted a buzzing sound like an ancient bell. Is this the strongest celestial fox inheritance left behind by those old fellows? Yushang looked at the last inheritance pillar. There was a raised celestial fox symbol on the pillar. The celestial fox symbol was vivid and lifelike. The celestial fox on it had 7 celestial fox tails. This was the authentic 7-tailed celestial fox inheritance. 7-tailed inheritance. You're finally mine. Yushang looked at the inheritance pillar with an almost infatuated look. A dark red dot appeared on her fingertip. Her blood was about to enter the inheritance pillar. But at that moment, Yushang's foot was suddenly pulled. A fox claw suddenly landed on the celestial fox inheritance pillar. Blood instantly seeped into the celestial fox inheritance pillar. That blood didn't belong to Yushang. Yushang looked down and saw that a fox claw had appeared at her feet. Yunxing, who had transformed into a 6-tailed celestial fox, was one step ahead of her and grabbed the celestial fox inheritance pillar at the last moment. Behind Yunxing was a long trail of blood. She had actually managed to crawl 300 meters with one last breath at the very last moment. Bastard, let go of me. Yushang was furious. She didn't expect Yunxing to snatch the celestial fox inheritance pillar from her at a time like this. That inheritance pillar is mine. Yushang's blue-green eyes were bloodshot. She was so angry that she transformed into her fox form. The blood on Yunxing's hand continued to seep into the celestial fox inheritance pillar. Ah, it's mine. It's still mine. Yunxing raised her head. Let go. Let go. Yushang was so angry that she slammed her palm down on Yunxing. She was about to go crazy. Her cooked duck had flown away. This damn celestial fox bastard. That was her celestial fox inheritance pillar. But no matter how hard Yushang hit, Yunxing's claws were still tightly gripping the celestial fox inheritance pillar. Vice Chief, what do you see in the eye? At this time, Duguxiu and a few elites of the Black Qilin tribe had already entered the area of the eye. They also saw the situation inside. What was going on? Behemoth? The winged ping race and a celestial fox. 2 6-tailed celestial foxes? 2 6-tailed celestial fox had actually appeared in the celestial fox tribe. It seemed that the rumors were true. The celestial fox tribe had held a saintess selection ceremony, and 2 6-tailed celestial foxes had appeared at the ceremony. Moreover, these 2 celestial foxes were fighting over the strongest celestial fox inheritance pillar in the ancient seal. Duguxiu's eagle-like eyes dimmed as he noticed the dying celestial fox on the ground. Her snow-white fur had already been dyed red, but her claws were still tightly gripping the celestial fox inheritance pillar. Her eyes were already closed. Clearly, the celestial fox woman had already fainted. But her claws were still tightly gripping the celestial fox inheritance pillar. She still wasn't willing to let go at this point. For some reason, Duguxiu felt a suffocating feeling in his heart. He had an impulse to rush up to him. Vice Chief, there's no time to lose. We should seize those inheritance pillars as soon as possible. The reminder beside him brought Duguxiu back to his senses. Yes. Duguxiu stiffly retracted his gaze. He took to the skies and flew towards the ancient Black Qilin inheritance pillar with a few other Black Qilin warriors. Since you're so persistent, I'll destroy your soul. Yushang's gaze hardened as it landed on another celestial fox inheritance pillar. This was the second last celestial fox inheritance pillar. It was also a 7-tailed celestial fox inheritance pillar, but it wasn't the strongest one. Yushang waved her hand and uprooted the inheritance pillar. Yushang raised the inheritance pillar high and viciously smashed it down on Yunsheng's head. Chapter 1263. Yunxing used the last of her consciousness to grab the celestial fox inheritance pillar with her Yama fox claw. I can't let Yushang obtain this celestial fox inheritance. The thought kept echoing in Yunsheng's mind. Above her head, Yushang threw the celestial fox inheritance pillar at Yunsheng's head. The cruel smile on Yunsheng's lips froze. A hand blocked in front of her. You're from the Black Qilin tribe? An unfamiliar man stood in front of Yushang. Judging from the man's fierce fighting spirit and strong physique, Yushang could tell that he was from the Black Qilin tribe. Why would someone from the Black Qilin tribe appear in the ancient seal? Yushang glanced around from the corner of her eyes and saw a dozen warriors from the Black Qilin tribe. They were like shadows following behind Duguxiu. Every man had several 8 desolation inheritance pillars in their hands. TSK, it seemed that the Black Qilin tribe had been prepared. They must have been lying in ambush near the ancient seal and took advantage of the moment the seal's eye appeared to plunder everything. They had the advantage in numbers, and this man didn't seem to be any weaker than her. Yu Shang's gaze softened, and she transformed into her human form. Her cruel and bloodthirsty expression was gone, replaced by a seductive smile. Yu Shang was a smart woman, and smart women knew how to use their assets. In the past, as long as men saw her face, their hearts would waver. However, the man in front of her didn't seem to be moved at all after seeing Yu Shang's true appearance. His eagle-like eyes didn't waver in the slightest. The man who blocked Yu Shang had a head of fiery hair, and a dark gaze that was bone-chillingly cold. Even if you don't kill her, she won't be able to leave this place alive. Duguxiu's action surprised even himself. Just now, he'd led his subordinates to quickly harvest the 8 desolation inheritance pillars. When he was about to snatch the celestial fox's inheritance pillar, he realized that Yu Shang was about to kill the 6-tailed celestial fox. In fact, Duguxiu could have ignored the fight between the 2 celestial fox. But just as Yu Shang was about to strike, Duguxiu's limbs seemed to not listen to him. He subconsciously moved and blocked Yu Shang's fatal strike. Was it impossible to leave this place alive? Yu Shang looked around and quickly understood what Duguxiu meant. Their current location was the Eye of the Ancient Seal. The Eye of the Ancient Seal was supported by the inheritance pillars of the elder-level powerhouses. Just now, she and Yun Sheng had each snatched a celestial fox inheritance pillar. In addition to the Black Qilin tribe, they had plundered many inheritance pillars from other beast tribes and the Black Qilin tribe. The area of the Eye was now like an underground mine that had been hollowed out, losing a large number of pillars all of a sudden. Due to the lack of energy in the Eye, it was already on the verge of collapse. The entire ancient seal could collapse at any time. The ground was already shaking up and down, and rocks kept falling from the surrounding mountains. According to Yu Shang's estimation, the valley would completely collapse in less than half an hour. At that time, the ancient seal would disappear from the world forever. As for the bastard on the ground, she had already lost consciousness. Based on her current condition, without any external help, the only path left for her was death. Since that was the case, there was no need to get into a conflict with this man from the Black Qilin tribe. Yu Shang smiled in relief and put the celestial fox inheritance pillar into her bag. Bastard, I'll let you die with this so-called strongest celestial fox inheritance pillar in your arms. Yu Shang looked at the celestial fox inheritance pillar in Yun Sheng's hands, unwilling to give up. After fusing with the inheritance pillar with a drop of blood, the inheritance pillar would lose its effectiveness if it was not fused within 7 days and 7 nights. It was a pity that the strongest celestial fox inheritance pillar had finally appeared in the world. Yu Shang then looked at the heavenly fox inheritance pillar in her hand, which was the second most powerful one. Forget it. This was also a 7-tailed celestial fox inheritance pillar. With this 7-tailed celestial fox inheritance, Yu Shang believed that she was already qualified to become the winner of this year's celestial fox saintess candidate. Little brother from the Black Qilin tribe, we'll meet again in the Bahuang tribe competition. Yu Shang smiled seductively and dodged Duguxiu. With a wave of her hand, she put the remaining celestial fox inheritance pillars into her bag. After that, Yu Shang took the few celestial fox saintess candidates who were lucky enough to survive, including Lu Yunshuang. She rose into the air and quickly left the ancient seal. Duguxiu glanced at the 6-tailed celestial fox lying in a pool of blood. Its snow-white fur was dyed red with blood. He reached out to check the pulse on the 6-tailed celestial fox's neck and found that the celestial fox's pulse had stopped beating, so was still dead. There was an indescribable sense of loss. Forget it. The strong lived and the weak died. This was the rule of this world. Deputy clan leader, the ancient seal is about to collapse. We must leave quickly. We also found the young chiefs of the Behemoth tribe and the Winged Rock tribe in the valley. They have lost the ability to fight back. The warriors of the Black Qilin tribe discovered Rita, Silver Rock, and the others. Take them with us. This trip to the ancient seal had been a fruitful one. Not only had the Behemoth tribe and the Winged Rock tribe owed him a favor, but he had also obtained a large number of Bahuang inheritance pillars. Suppressing the strange feeling in his heart, Duguxiu looked away. In a flash, he left the valley with the warriors of the Black Qilin tribe. As the Black Qilin tribe and Duguxiu left, the valley collapsed even more. The warriors of the Behemoth tribe and the Winged Rock tribe who couldn't escape in time, as well as the war spirits left behind by the ancient seal, were all annihilated in the collapsing ancient seal. At the location of the ancient seal, Yun Sheng, who had severed her aura, was about to be drowned in the rubble. Her body emitted a gentle glow. Under the glow, Yun Sheng's eyelids trembled. She regained her human form. The blood in her body also stopped flowing. Her chest rose and fell as she regained her breathing. The celestial fox relic flew out from Yun Sheng's body. The moment the celestial fox relic appeared, the collapsing ancient seal seemed to have stopped. The rubble that was about to hit Yun Sheng was blocked by the glow. Cough cough. Yun Sheng spat out a mouthful of turbid air. His black eyes were clear and bright. There was no sign of him being dead at all. Yun Sheng felt that Yu Shang's torture was like a long nightmare. Her eyelids were very heavy. Tisk, pretending to be dead is really a skill. Including the last time, it was a total of 109 times. Damned Yu Shang, you'd better remember this. Yun Sheng spat out a mouthful of saliva. Her eyes were fierce. Chapter 1264. As it turned out, being beaten to death just now was just a show directed by Yun Sheng. Luckily, she was a doctor in her previous life and had seen many dead people. In addition, she had watched many dramas. Just now, she had used a hidden needle to hold her breath and used her acting skills to successfully fool the others. Ever since Yun Sheng witnessed Rita being plotted against by Yu Shang, she had been on guard against Yu Shang's grafting flowers onto trees. She had long guessed that a sinister and cunning person like Yu Shang would definitely use a trick at the last moment. As she had expected, when they were about 300 meters away from the inheritance pillar, Yu Shang used grafting flowers onto trees, putting Yun Sheng into an extremely disadvantageous situation. However, Yu Shang did not expect that Yun Sheng's critical situation was just a show that she had planned and directed and acted out on her own. Her goal was to make Yu Shang let down her guard. Yun Sheng and Yu Shang were both six-tailed celestial fox. In terms of strength, Yun Sheng and Yu Shang were equally matched. However, Yu Shang, that old witch, was the first celestial fox saintess. Her understanding of ancient seals far surpassed Yun Sheng's. Moreover, who knew what other strange celestial fox inheritance she was hiding in her body? That was why Yun Sheng was so careful. In contrast to Yun Sheng, Yu Shang had always thought highly of herself. A woman like her had 100% confidence in her beauty and intelligence. She had always underestimated Yun Sheng, thinking that she was a mixed blood and would never be a real competitor. When she saw that the celestial fox's grafting flowers onto trees successfully, seriously injured Yun Sheng, she let down her guard. This allowed Yun Sheng to use her blood to snatch the strongest celestial fox inheritance pillar before Yu Shang at the last moment. Yu Shang was flustered and exasperated and was about to kill her. At that time, Yun Sheng wanted to summon the magical beasts and fight her to the death. However, at that moment, Yun Sheng sensed that there were many powerful energy waves moving towards the center of the ancient seal. Yun Sheng felt that one of the auras was very familiar. It was Duguxiu. After sensing the familiar energy fluctuation, Yun Sheng immediately understood. It turned out that other than the Behemoth, Pengyu and Celestial Fox tribes, the Black Qilin tribe had also received the news of the ancient seal. Ever since the incident with the Duqian blood print, there had been no news of Duguxiu. It turned out that he had come to the Ba Huang continent. It seemed that the people of the Black Qilin tribe also wanted to plunder the inheritance pillar in the ancient sealing eye. Yun Sheng's impulse was immediately suppressed by this unexpected discovery. She was very clear about Duguxiu's strength. This fellow was originally an ambitious person. How could he be willing to accept his failure back then? That brat's strength was not inferior to hers back then. In these few years after being trained by He Yao, he must have improved very quickly. If Yun Sheng and Yu Shang fought to the death, wouldn't Duguxiu get what he wanted? Yun Sheng was not that stupid. She pondered for a moment and changed her mind about fighting to the death with Yu Shang. Yun Sheng steeled her heart and pierced the hidden needle into the chi-blocking acupoint in her body. She stopped resisting and allowed Yu Shang to attack. However, she did not expect that this crazy woman Yu Shang would explode as if Yun Sheng had stolen her man and dug up her ancestral grave. Yun Sheng was so angry that she almost vomited blood. Fortunately, after the hidden needle pierced her acupoint, Yun Sheng's perception had decreased a little, so she managed to endure the pain. However, Yu Shang was still not satisfied and wanted to directly smash Yun Sheng to death. Just as Yun Sheng was cursing in her heart, Duguxiu actually showed mercy and blocked Yu Shang's attack. Seeing the people of the Black Qilin tribe appear, Yu Shang indeed restrained herself a little. She finally left after robbing the pillars and people. Just as Yun Sheng was secretly rejoicing, Duguxiu suddenly leaned over and felt her pulse. Although she was now in her fox form, Yun Sheng was still shocked. When the man's cold and stiff fingers landed on her neck, Yun Sheng was a little worried that Duguxiu would recognize her. Fortunately, Duguxiu did not pursue the matter. After the people of the Black Qilin tribe left, Yun Sheng took a deep breath and came back to life. They've all left. It seems that it's time to see what's going on. Yun Sheng drank a few mouthfuls of the water of life and recovered some strength. She stared at the celestial fox relic. Celestial fox relic, after I entered the sealed eye, you kept humming in my body. Could it be that there's something in the ruins of the ancient seal that you can't bear to part with? Yun Sheng was suspicious. The reason she was able to remain calm at the last moment and not be completely suppressed by the pressure of the ancient seal was because of the celestial fox relic. The celestial fox relic quietly floated in the ruins. Suddenly, the relic emitted a dazzling light like the scorching sun in a clear sky. The area where the celestial fox's inheritance pillar had been plundered by Yu Shang. Under the effect of the light, the soil in the ruins turned over, as if something was about to drill out from the ground. Rumble, it was as if a door that had been closed for countless years had suddenly opened. A celestial fox's inheritance pillar slowly emerged from the ground. It was a celestial fox's inheritance pillar that no one had noticed before. It slowly emerged from the ground until it stood side by side with the celestial fox's inheritance pillar that Yun Sheng had dripped her blood on. In front of them stood two celestial fox's inheritance pillars. What was going on? She clearly remembered that she and Yu Shang were competing for the strongest celestial fox's inheritance pillar. However, this new inheritance pillar that had just appeared was much larger than the original inheritance pillar in terms of both size and power of inheritance. What was going on with this new inheritance pillar? Yun Sheng saw that the celestial fox's inheritance pillar on the left was still blood red. That should be the celestial fox's inheritance pillar that she had fought hard to snatch from Yu Shang. But the other one? Yun Sheng focused her eyes and realized that it was a celestial fox's inheritance pillar that she had never seen before. This is... Yun Sheng's pupils shrank. She looked at the celestial fox's inheritance pillar that had just emerged in disbelief. The strongest celestial fox's inheritance pillar that Yun Sheng and Yu Shang had fought over earlier had a seven-tailed celestial fox imprinted on it. But this new inheritance pillar had an eight-tailed celestial fox's inheritance. It was dark all around. Yun Sheng knew that she had been buried in the collapsed ancient seal. This eight-tailed celestial fox's inheritance pillar had emerged directly from the ground. Yun Sheng stared at the eight-tailed celestial fox's inheritance pillar. After the new eight-tailed celestial fox's inheritance pillar emerged, the celestial fox's relic that was originally suspended in the sky spontaneously flew into Yun Sheng's body. There was a soft glow on her chest. Yun Sheng looked down and saw that the celestial fox's relic had disappeared. Could this be the real reason why the celestial fox's relic had been buzzing non-stop? It was leading her to find the celestial fox's inheritance pillar buried in the ancient seal. That was the strongest celestial fox's inheritance in the ancient seal. Chapter 1265. This is really a blessing in disguise. I didn't expect that the collapse of the ancient seal would draw out the celestial fox's inheritance pillar buried deep within the eight tails. I guess this is fate. Yu Shang, you tried so hard, but in the end, you still failed to obtain the most powerful celestial fox's inheritance, Yun Sheng mused. The ancient seal was left behind by the first batch of Beast Clan ancestors who arrived at the Eight Wilderness mainland. The Eye Seal was the inheritance pillar left behind by the last batch of powerful elders of the Bakra Orcs. The most ancient inheritance of the Bakra Orcs was gathered here. Yu Shang thought that she knew the ancient seal like the back of her hand, but she did not know that when Hu Yen died in the Boundless Mainland, the elders of the Celestial Fox tribe began to suspect Hu Yushang, the Saintess. After they arrived at the Eight Wilderness Mainland, they appeared to have constructed this ancient seal with Yu Shang. However, they also took extra precautions and buried the Eight Tails inheritance, which represented the Celestial Fox's highest inheritance, underground. Only a pure-hearted Celestial Fox who could withstand the Elder's test, or a Celestial Fox who possessed strength comparable to the first tribe leader, Hu Yen, would be able to see the light of day again with the Eight Tails Celestial Fox inheritance. Although Yun Sheng's current strength was not comparable to Hu Yan's, due to the Celestial Fox Saraira, Yun Sheng unexpectedly discovered the Eight Tails Celestial Fox inheritance when the ancient seal collapsed. Speaking of which, all of this was fated by fate. The two celestial foxes' inheritance pillars were like two bright lamps that illuminated the ruins and temporarily created a relatively safe space for the ruins. Yun Xing checked her surroundings and found that small collapses were still occurring around her because of the eye seal's collapse. This was not the best time to leave this ancient seal. Yu Shang and the others should have returned to Hu City happily by now. Unfortunately, Lu Yunshuang and the others had fallen into Yu Shang's hands. He had to think of a way to rescue them. However, Yu Shang had obtained the inheritance of another 7 tails. She also had the support of the great shaman doctor. Even if she returned to Hu City, she wouldn't be defeated so easily. The only thing he could do now was to stay in the ruins and think of a way to merge the 2 new celestial fox inheritance pillars. Then he would return to Hu capital and rescue Popo, Little Yingying, and Lu Yunshuang. Thinking of this, Yun Xing simply stayed in the ruins and started to comprehend the 2 great celestial fox heritages on the celestial fox heritages. 2 months passed in the blink of an eye. There was still no movement in the ruins of the ancient seal. Meanwhile, in the capital of the celestial fox tribe, Hudu, the celestial fox tribe finally welcomed their new celestial fox saintess, Yu Shang. Lu Yunshuang, tomorrow will be the day I officially become the celestial fox saintess. Let me ask you one more time, are you willing to work with me? After Yu Shang brought Hu Linglong and the others back to Hu City, she received a hero's welcome because she had obtained the inheritance of 7 tails. It had been many years since the celestial fox tribe had obtained the inheritance of a celestial fox with more than 6 tails. This time, Yu Shang had brought back a 7 tails inheritance. In addition, the other celestial fox saintess candidates were all seriously injured. The 6 tails mixed blood celestial fox Yun Sheng, who was seen as Yu Shang's biggest competitor, had killed her compatriots in the 8 desolate mountains and devoured the hearts of Hua Yanluo and Feng Lian in order to snatch the position of saintess. Fortunately, Yu Shang and the other saintesses had worked together to kill Yun Sheng. Most of the people in the celestial fox tribe believed Yu Shang's story. The other celestial fox saintess candidates, including Hu Linglong, had no choice but to agree with Yu Shang because of her abuse of power. Now Lu Yunshuang was the only one who refused to work with Yu Shang. Yu Shang had wanted to kill her, but the people of the Ice Fox tribe kept asking to see Lu Yunshuang. As a prospective saintess, Yu Shang could not afford to offend the ancient Ice Fox tribe. She had no choice but to imprison Lu Yunshuang, temporarily detaining her on the grounds that she was still seriously ill. Lu Yunshuang, my patience is wearing thin. I'll ask you one more time, are you willing to work with me or not? Yu Shang's face was fierce. I've been through this many times, Yu Shang. You killed your compatriots and framed Yun Sheng at the last moment. You're dreaming if you want me to work with you. Lu Yunshuang closed her eyes, unwilling to look at Yu Shang's hypocritical face. She only hated herself for not being strong enough and allowing Yun Sheng to die in the ancient seal. Let's see how long you can remain stubborn. I heard that you have a childhood sweetheart. Is he human? Yu Shang's seductive eyes were full of scheming. Yu Shang, what do you want? Lu Yunshuang opened her eyes. What do I want? I just want to hold a unique sacrifice at the coronation ceremony of the saintess of the heavenly fox tribe tomorrow. You know that sacrifices are required at the celestial fox saintess coronation ceremony. In the past, some magical beasts were used as sacrifices. This year, I plan to use 999 humans for the sacrifice. As for the humans for the sacrifice, I'll use the villagers of your lover's village. What do you think? Yu Shang chuckled. Lu Yunshuang felt as if she was in a world of ice and snow. She did not expect Yu Shang to be so vicious. You're crazy. You don't deserve to be the saintess of the celestial fox tribe. Lu Yunshuang was so angry that she wanted to fight Yu Shang. Unfortunately, her body was bound by a magical lock and she could not use any extra strength. You only have yourself to blame. They were all killed because of you. Lu Yunshuang, you're really stupid. You can be like the other celestial fox saintess candidates and be my subordinate. If I'm in a good mood, I might reward you with a celestial fox inheritance. Yu Shang snatched a few celestial fox inheritance pillars from the ancient seal eye. The celestial fox inheritance pillars that lay dormant in the ancient seal eye were all inheritances with 4, 5, and 6 tails. In order to better control her subordinates, Yu Shang gave 2 of them to Hu Linglong and Qin Yu. Dream on. I won't betray Yun Sheng. Lu Yunshuang gritted her teeth, still unwilling to give in. Is it worth it to do this for a dead person? Fine, since you won't give up, I'll execute you and those humans tomorrow. Yu Shang flicked her sleeves angrily and left the dungeon. As soon as she left the dungeon, Hu Linglong and Qin Yu were already waiting outside. They were now Yu Shang's subordinates. Yushang, I've already done as you said and captured those humans. When will you do as we agreed? Hu Linglong looked at Yushang with some dissatisfaction. Yushang had already gotten her wish and was about to become the celestial fox saintess. She had failed to fulfill her promise to her. Now the entire celestial fox tribe was chasing after Yushang. In Hu Linglong's opinion, all of this should belong to her. She could not help but feel a little jealous. What's the rush? I'll do what you said. After I integrate the Seven Tails inheritance, what's yours will still be yours. Yushang glared at Hu Linglong unhappily. Chapter 1266. It's good that you remember. If you can't do it, don't blame me for falling out with you. Hu Linglong snorted and turned to leave. What a troublesome woman. I'll deal with you sooner or later. Yushang also hated Hu Linglong. That woman couldn't do anything right. If it wasn't for the fact that she was the daughter of Vice Patriarch Hu Qiansui and had some value, Yushang would have dealt with her long ago. Lord Yushang, there's no need to be so calculative with that ignorant woman. Soon the Celestial Fox tribe will belong to you and Great Shaman Doctor. After Qin Yu submitted to Yushang, she also received a five-tailed Celestial Fox inheritance. She looked like she wholeheartedly submitted to Yushang and was much more obedient than Hu Linglong. Don't flatter me. Let me ask you, how long has it been since I told you to capture Hu Rulin? Why is she still nowhere to be seen? Although Yushang saw Yunxing die, in the ancient seal with her own eyes, she still felt a thorn in her heart. She still couldn't figure out how a mixed blood could be a six-tailed celestial fox. Since Yunxing looked exactly like Hu Rulin's daughter, Hu Rulin must know something about Yunxing's origins. So when Yushang returned to the Hu capital, she immediately ordered Qin Yu to capture Hu Rulin. Although Hu Rulin was the first wife of the celestial fox people, after Yunxing's death, Hu Qianqiu became even colder to Hu Rulin and didn't care about her life or death. Yushang thought that a mere Hu Rulin would be easy to deal with under such circumstances. Who would have thought that Qin Yu would return empty-handed? Lord Yushang, this matter is a bit tricky. Before Yunxing left for 8 Desolate Mountain Range, she entrusted Hu Rulin to 9 Wan Young Patriarch Lu. After Yunxing's death, 9 Wan Young Patriarch flew into a rage and almost became enemies with the Celestial Fox tribe. Hu Rulin was also taken away by him. This subordinate has been tracking him all the way, but the 9 Phoenix Young clan leader is very cautious. We haven't been able to find a chance to make a move. Qin Yu's face was full of caution. Yunxing was a cautious person. Before she left, she told Green to take good care of Hu Rulin. Yunxing died, in the 8 Desolate Mountain Range, and even killed Celestial Fox's fellow clansmen. When this news came back, Green was the first to not believe it. He even wanted to confront Hu Linglong and the others. In the end, it was the 9 Phoenix Old Patriarch who stepped forward to settle this matter. Green angrily left with Hu Rulin. The Celestial Fox people's Jianghu Qianqiu didn't dare to stop them. However, this made it difficult for Qin Yu and the others to do anything. 9 Wan tribe's Green, he's just a stinky man. He seems to have some feelings for Yunxing. However, it's fine. In another month, when I completely fuse with the new Seven Tails inheritance and participate in the 8 Desolate Tribe competition, I will definitely make that man bow down to my Celestial Fox tribe. Yushang was waiting to officially inherit the position of Celestial Fox Saintess tomorrow. Ascending to the position of Saintess was only the first step for Yushang. She wanted to prove to everyone in the Celestial Fox tribe that she was stronger than Hu Yen. After so many years, she, Yushang, would eventually become the first person in the Celestial Fox tribe. In the capital of Hu, for the ascension of the new Saintess, everyone was extremely busy. In a certain mansion in the capital of Hu, dark clouds covered the sky. Elder Lu and Lu Shuiyu, who had one hand crippled, had gloomy faces. Grandfather, have you investigated the matter thoroughly? Is there really no chance of Yunxing surviving? Lu Shuiyu asked. I have secretly ordered people to search the 8 Desolate Mountain Range for nearly 2 months. I have also sent people to investigate, but there is no news of Yunxing. It seems that woman is already dead. Elder Lu was very sullen. His bloodline of Fengdu was supposed to be the most promising candidate for the position of Celestial Fox Saintess. Who would have thought that along the way there would be so many problems? His granddaughter Lu Shuiyu was crippled, and the candidate for the position of Saintess of Celestial Fox Saintess was killed by another candidate for the position of Celestial Fox Saintess because she had devoured the heart of a fellow clansman. This matter caused Elder Lu's status in the Celestial Fox tribe to plummet, and he was almost chased out of the Celestial Fox Council of Elders. At the last moment he had to spend a lot of money to keep his position as an elder. Even so, the position of Saintess of Celestial Fox Saintess still fell into the hands of the Yudu bloodline. Yudu? What was that? But this time, even the great shaman doctor was full of praise for Saintess Yu Shang. After tomorrow's auspicious hour, Yu Shang would inherit the position of Saintess of Celestial Fox. What was done could not be undone. This time he had made a mistake. It's all that Yun Sheng's fault. She's dead and now she's a burden to us. My hand was never going to recover. Grandfather, since we have confirmed that Yun Sheng is dead, what should we do with her accomplices? Lu Xueyu gritted her teeth. Songdu's vitality was also greatly damaged in the matter of Celestial Fox Saintess. After the Saintess candidate, Qin Yu, who was the only survivor, testified that Yun Sheng had killed her own clansmen, she ignored Chen Lang's obstruction and captured Baby Sheep and Little Ying Ying, who were still in the inn, to Elder Lu's manor. At that time, Elder Lu was still hoping that Yun Sheng was still alive, so he locked Baby Sheep and Little Ying Ying in the secret chamber. Now that the new Saintess was about to ascend the throne and Yun Sheng's death was confirmed, Elder Lu had no reason to keep Baby Sheep and Little Ying Ying alive. Are you talking about that sheep and that human child in the secret chamber? Elder Lu narrowed his eyes. After being captured again, that damned sheep had caused him no end of trouble. Of course we'll kill them tonight. That mixed-blood bastard caused our Fengdu bloodline to suffer such heavy losses. I want them to be cut into 1,000 pieces. Lu Xueyu waved her left hand. Yun Sheng had caused her to lose her left hand, so she would torture Yun Sheng's pet beast and that herbalist to death. The grandfather and granddaughter pair immediately walked toward the secret chamber. In the secret chamber, Baby Sheep and Little Ying Ying had been locked up for almost 2 months. Baby Sheep, Little Ying Ying is so tired and hungry. Are you sure Master will come back for us? Little Ying Ying snuggled up to Baby Sheep. For the past 2 months, the two of them had relied on each other's encouragement to survive. When news of Master Yun Sheng's death came, Little Ying Ying cried for several days. They were even captured by the wicked Qin Yu and brought to the Lu Manor. Baby Sheep was also there for several days, but later, it secretly told Little Ying Ying that Master was still alive. Yes, Little Ying Ying. Baby Sheep is Master's contracted beast. If Master dies, Baby Sheep will die too. I believe that Master is only hiding temporarily for some reason. She will definitely come back for us. Baby Sheep also wanted to cry. Without Master around, the 2 old and crippled foxes in the Lu Manor had to torture them. First, they didn't give them enough medicine, then they even gave them less food. Baby Sheep was a magical beast, so it wasn't a big deal for her to starve for a few meals. She gave most of her food and medicine to Little Ying Ying, so she had to suffer. The door to the secret chamber opened and Baby Sheep quickly shoved Little Ying Ying behind her. That disgusting grandfather and granddaughter pair from the Lu Manor were here again. Chapter 1267. As soon as Elder Lu and Lu Xueyu entered the secret room, they saw Popping Sheep shielding Little Ying Ying behind him. Yo, you've become like this and you still have the energy to protect others? Lu Xueyu saw Popping Sheep and felt a burning pain on her face. Every time Lu Xueyu came, Popping Sheep would desperately scratch and bite her. Lu Xueyu hated Popping Sheep to the core. Bah, you crippled fox girl. Quickly let me and Little Ying Ying out. Otherwise, when Master comes back, the first thing she will do is take your life. Popping Sheep was stubborn. Master this and master that. This old man shouldn't have believed you, stupid sheep. That celestial fox bastard is already dead. This old man has been searching for 2 months, but I didn't find anything. Elder Lu had believed Popping Sheep's words earlier, which was why he mistakenly believed that Yun Sheng was still alive. Now it was clear that Popping Sheep had lied to save his and Little Ying Ying's lives. When he thought of this, Elder Lu was so angry that he almost died. He had lived for almost 100 years, but he was still fooled by a magical beast. He had even spent so much manpower and resources just to find Yun Sheng. What a joke. Grandpa, why are you still talking so much nonsense with them? I'm going to kill them. Lu Xueyu was anxious to kill Popping Sheep and Little Ying Ying to vent her anger. Xueyu, don't be anxious. You forgot that this magical beast's voice and claws are very powerful. Why do we have to go through so much trouble? In half an hour, the poison in their bodies will act up. Wait until they are exhausted from the torture, then you can kill them. At that time you can cut them into pieces. Elder Lu was still a little afraid of Popping Sheep's fierce resistance. He had studied this magical beast for a long time, but he still didn't know its specific origin. But since Yun Sheng was already dead, he didn't have to be so afraid. The poison in popping sheep and little Yingying's bodies would act up every month. If there was no medicine, the human and the beast would feel like ants biting them. It was very uncomfortable until they were tortured to death. When Yunxing left, she only left behind a month's worth of medicine. A few months after baby sheep and little Yingying were captured, Elder Lu still had some reservations about giving them the normal amount. However, now that Yushang was about to ascend the throne and Yunsheng's death was confirmed, Elder Lu was no longer willing to give them the antidote. Bo, you guys are too despicable. Bo Sheep still remembered the pain that made him wish he was dead. However, baby sheep did not know where the poison came from. Why was it that even a world god beast like her would be harmed by the poison? After a few minutes, the poison in baby sheep and little Yingying's bodies flared up again. Like being bitten by ants, baby sheep and little Yingying's faces turned pale. Sweat as big as beans soon soaked the sheep's wool. Little Yingying rolled around in pain in the secret chamber. Watch. Little Yingying was still young. She couldn't bear the pain and started crying. Little Yingying, don't cry. Master told us to be strong. Baby sheep will protect you. Inside baby sheep's body, the pain was no less than little Yingying's. He tried his best to stay awake and cheer little Yingying up. Oh, how touching. Even at this time, you guys still know how to be friendly. Like master, like beast. You guys are as stupid as that mixed blood bastard. Lu Shuiyu watched from the side, taking pleasure in their misfortune. If not for baby sheep and little Yingying, Yunxing wouldn't have been controlled by Elder Lu and his granddaughter. In Lu Shuiyu's opinion, Yunxing's actions were the typical stupid actions of a lowly human. You are not allowed to insult your beloved master. Baby sheep glared. For the first time, there was killing intent in his eyes. You still dare to glare at me when you are about to die. Lu Shuiyu snorted when she saw that baby sheep still dared to talk back. She took out a bottle of medicine and waved it in front of baby sheep and little Yingying. This is your antidote. Unfortunately, I only have one bottle. Both of you beg me. I will give the antidote to whoever begs me first. Lu Shuiyu didn't believe that a mere child and a demonic beast could persist in the face of intense pain. No. Little Yingying doesn't want to beg you, bad woman. Little Yingying cried and shrank her body. Oh, you don't want to beg? Then what about you, little dumb sheep? If you beg me, I will give you the antidote. After drinking the antidote, you can guarantee that the poison in your body won't flare up for a month. Lu Shuiyu smiled and walked closer to baby sheep. Now that the poison in baby sheep and little Yingying's body was flaring up, they didn't have any strength to resist. Baby sheep. Really hurts. Bad woman, give me the antidote. Baby sheep's words made little Yingying's body stiffen. Baby sheep. How could baby sheep beg that woman? Little Yingying's eyes filled with tears. Baby sheep didn't say anything. He had told her that she must be strong and not give in. She had relied on baby sheep's words to persist until now. Haha, I thought you would have some backbone, but you are only SOSO. What did you say just now? I couldn't hear you. Say it again. Lu Shuiyu took another step closer. Baby sheep has no strength left. Bad woman, come a little closer and baby sheep will tell you, baby sheep said weakly. You really are cheap. Lu Shuiyu kicked baby sheep. But seeing baby sheep's current state, she didn't believe that it could do anything. Lu Shuiyu lowered her head. At this moment there was a popping sound. She opened her eyes wide and grabbed Lu Shuiyu's potion. Using the last of her strength, she slammed her round body into Lu Shuiyu. Baby sheep had monstrous strength. Although it had used up a lot of energy because of the poison, it hated Lu Shuiyu to the core and used all its strength to slam into her. Lu Shuiyu only felt a sharp pain in her chest. It was as if her organs were being crushed. She immediately lost consciousness. Shuiyu. You bastard. Elder Lu had been watching carefully from the side. He didn't expect baby sheep to suddenly show its might. Don't come over. Otherwise, baby sheep will cripple her other hand. Baby sheep scolded fiercely. She had followed Yunsheng for so long and had learned everything she needed to learn. Master had said that in a situation where the enemy was strong and she was weak, she could suffer a little. But those losses had to be paid back tenfold or even 100-fold. She was a world deity beast. How could she be bullied by two foxes? At such a crucial moment, baby sheep knew how to play the pig to eat the tiger. That was why she pretended to beg for mercy and baited Lu Shuiyu. Sure enough, this brainless woman fell for it. Since Master wasn't here, baby sheep had to take up the responsibility of protecting little Yingying. She had to bring little Yingying away safely. Chapter 1268. Lu Shuiyu was choked by Bobo's neck. Bobo threw the bottle of medicine to little Ying. Little Ying, drink the medicine first. Bobo, you're in pain too. Let's split it? Little Ying picked up the medicine, feeling ashamed. She shouldn't have doubted Bobo. No, the medicine is only effective when consumed by one person. Don't forget, Bobo is an omnipotent world divine beast. A little pain is nothing. The pain in Bobo's body intensified, but she still bit the bullet and let little Ying drink it first. Little Ying drank the medicine and the pain lessened a lot. She quickly went to Bobo's side. Elder Lu was worried about his granddaughter Lu Shueyu's safety, so he didn't dare to go forward. Cunning beast, let go of Shueyu. Otherwise, this old man will immediately order people to turn you into targets. Elder Lu was furious. He didn't expect the beast to be so shameless. Bobo. Do you think Bobo is an idiot? Master said that at this time, we must capture the hostage. Quickly open the door to the secret room. It dragged Lu Shueyu and exerted more strength. Lu Shueyu's left hand let out a terrifying sound, as if it would be broken by Bobo at any time. Lu Shueyu, who was unconscious, let out a painful groan. Elder Lu had no choice but to step aside, allowing Bobo and little Ying to walk out of the secret room. One man and one beast quickly became the secret room. Just as he walked out of the secret chamber, Elder Lu roared. His hand suddenly changed into the Yama Fox Claw, which shone with a sharp light. Wind gusts of wind blew as it attacked baby sheep and little Ying. Little Ying, run. In a moment of desperation, baby sheep pulled Lu Shueyu in front of him and threw her out. It immediately flapped its wings, grabbed little Ying and wanted to escape. Who knew that at this time, the celestial fox guards who were lying in ambush in the mansion suddenly rushed out. They raised their bows and arrows, aimed at the sky and shot. Turn them into sieves. Elder Lu had saved his granddaughter. Seeing that his granddaughter was fine, he heaved a sigh of relief. At his command, Celestial Fox's bodyguards followed suit. Baby Sheep was carrying little Ying, and the strange poison was still eating away at her strength. She was flying unsteadily, and a few arrows had already hit her wings. Blood immediately gushed out. It's so painful, my dear master. Where is it? Popping flew into the air. Elder Lu had already set up a barrier above the residence. Popping Sheep was not afraid of the barrier and wanted to forcefully break through, but little Ying's body was blocked by the barrier. Bobo, you go first. Don't worry about me. Little Ying saw that there were several arrows stuck in Popo's body. Blood fell from Popo's body onto her face like rain. Little Ying blamed herself. It was all her fault for dragging Poppy down. Otherwise, Poppy would have snatched the potion and broken through the barrier. Little Ying, Bobo promised Master to protect you. Bobo will take you away from here. Popping Sheep was unwilling to let go of little Ying. Seeing that Poppy's injuries were worsening, little Ying bit her lip and forcefully shook off Poppy's hand. Bobo, run. You have to avenge me. After saying that, little Ying fell from the air. Below her, countless arrows from the Lu residence's bodyguards swarmed over like a dense rain. Little Ying. Poppy's mind exploded. She could already see countless arrows piercing little Ying's chest. Her small body was like a rag doll, covered in blood, falling to the ground and smashing into meat paste. Inside Poppy's body, a dazzling bloody light shone. Her sheep body emitted a bright light. The sheep's entire body was bathed in a bloody light. On the ground, Elder Lu and the guards of the Lu mansion were all blinded by the dazzling light. In the light, the sheep's body disappeared. A short figure appeared. That figure swooped down from the sky as fast as lightning and grabbed little Ying in his hand. Little Ying thought that she was going to die, but at this moment she found that there was an extra hand under her body. Little Ying, Bobo won't leave you behind. Bobo is going to start a massacre. Close your eyes and don't peek. A somewhat young voice echoed in her ears. Although that voice didn't sound much older than Ying, there was an indescribable sense of intimidation in that voice. Little Ying couldn't refuse at all. She subconsciously closed her eyes. What is that thing? What did that damn demonic beast do? Elder Lu and the Lu residence's bodyguards forced their eyes open. They saw two figures in the air. That strange magical beast had disappeared, and in its place were two figures in the sky. One of them was little Ying, and the other was a completely unfamiliar girl. This was Elder Lu, and that guard Celestial Fox couldn't help but be stunned. It was an incomparably delicate little girl. She was quite young, about 6 or 7 years old. Her hair was pink and wavy, and she had a pair of big, sparkling eyes. Even a hard-hearted person would soften a little when they saw such a little girl. The little girl was hugging little Ing Ing in a very strange position. Beside her there were two moons. No, it was two sides that looked like crescent moons. They floated silently beside the little girl. You can't be that magical beast just now, right? Seeing the little girl covered in pink from head to toe, as well as her pink curly hair, Elder Lu cried out strangely. The girl with pink curly hair glared at him coldly. It was as if he was looking at a dead person. This pink curly-haired loli was popping sheep in her human form. Elder Lu's overbearingness allowed baby sheep to finally break through the barrier of the universe god beast and successfully transform into a human. Stupid guy. How dare you hurt Popping's friend? Popping will make you pay an unforgettable price. Popping, who had transformed into a human, raised her finger. The two sides beside her let out a ferocious cry. The two sides were put together with a thud. Then the two sides were raised high in the air. Universe God Storm. The power of the sides was like a hurricane. As the sides fell, Elder Lu and the Celestial Fox's bodyguards couldn't help but widen their eyes. It was as if a pink hurricane had streaked across the sky. The pink loli disappeared. They seemed to have seen the hurricane of the Grim Reaper throw down from the sky with an astonishing force. There was no time to escape or resist. Boom, boom, boom. The Lu residence was instantly razed to the ground under a wave of blade light. Chapter 1269. Little Ing Ing only felt that after a dull sound, everything returned to normal. She heard the sound of shallow breathing beside her ear. Little Ing Ing, you can open your eyes now. The bad guys are all dead. Little Ing Ing opened her eyes. She saw a very soft and cute little loli. The little loli was not even as tall as little Ing Ing. She was only about 1 meter tall. Other than her oval face, her entire body was chubby and tender. Especially her curly pink hair and pink eyes. They made her look like a rabbit. She was very cute. You are little sister Bobo? Little Ing Ing did not react for a moment. She remembered that in order to let Bobo leave, she broke free from Bobo. But why did Bobo suddenly become a human? Yes, Bobo became a human. You are the younger sister. Bobo is the oldest. Bobo is even older than Bobo's dear master. Although Bobo had turned into a human, she still had the heart of a cute sheep. When she heard the word younger sister, she expressed her strong dissatisfaction. But Bobo, you are so small and short. You look younger than me. I will call you little sister Bobo. I believe master will not have any objections. Little Ing Ing was not willing to call Bobo big sister. She looked around and realized that Lu residence had actually disappeared. Elder Lu and the other bad guys were all dead. The entire Lu residence had actually disappeared under the effects of Bobo's world deity storm. Bobo, I don't care. Bobo, I don't want to be little sister. Little Ing Ing, you have to call me big sister Bobo, otherwise, Bobo will teach you a lesson. You also saw that Bobo is very powerful now. Her world deity storm can wipe out all these bad guys in the blink of an eye. Bobo was unwilling. Unfortunately, she used a soft and tender voice to threaten little Ing Ing. Little Ing Ing was not afraid at all. Be good, little sister Bobo. Let's look around and see if there is anything valuable here. We have to move quickly. You made such a big commotion just now. It must have alerted the people in Hu City. Little Ing Ing calmed down after escaping from her predicament. She ignored Bobo's protests and quickly searched the scene. After finding some food and storage pouches, she and Bobo immediately sneaked into the Lu residence. A quarter of an hour later, the people of the Celestial Fox tribe received the news and rushed to the Lu residence. The Celestial Fox tribe was shocked by the destruction of the Lu mansion. They immediately ordered a search of the entire Lu manor, but even after searching for an entire day, they still couldn't find any clues. The entire Lu residence was inexplicably destroyed just like that. After little Ing Ing and little Ing Bo left the Lu residence, they discussed and decided not to leave Hu City for the time being. My dear master is very vengeful. Since she didn't die and was framed by those slutty vixens, she will definitely come back for revenge. Tomorrow is the Celestial Fox Saintess ceremony, and we can't let the worst female fox become the saintess. There's also that Chinyu. She caused us so much trouble. We must find a way to take revenge. Bobo was very narrow-minded. She definitely wouldn't let go of those who harmed her master, her and little Ing Ing. Because the Celestial Fox Saintess ceremony was about to begin, the matter of the Lu residence was temporarily put on hold. Before nightfall, the entire Hu City was intensely preparing for the Celestial Fox Saintess ceremony that would be held tomorrow. Just as Popping Sheep broke through and transformed into a human form, Qin Feng's expression changed. In the underworld palace, Ming Ri's expression changed slightly. I didn't expect that weakling to break through and transform into a human in advance. It seems that it's time to make a trip to the God realm and report to Mother that Bo Bo is still alive and qualified to become a world deity. Ming Ri originally thought that Bo Bo would need at least 100 years to transform into a human. He didn't expect that she would break through not long after returning to the human realm with Yun Sheng. It seemed that his decision to hand her over to Yun Sheng was right. Hence, Ming Ri left the underworld and headed to the God realm to look for him and Bo Bo's mother. Almost at the same time as Ming Ri, there was another person who felt the change in Bo Bo Bo. That person was Yun Sheng, who was in the ancient seal ruins. After Yun Sheng received the help of the celestial fox relics and obtained 2 celestial fox inheritances, she had been in the dark ruins, trying hard to comprehend and absorb the power of the celestial fox inheritances. Compared to the previous inheritances, the 7-tailed celestial fox and the 8-tailed celestial fox inheritances were much more difficult to learn. Yun Sheng spent a total of 20 days to learn the first 7-tailed celestial fox inheritance. The second 8-tailed celestial fox inheritance was much more difficult than the first one. Until 2 months later, at a certain time in the middle of the night, Yun Sheng suddenly opened her eyes. Bobo, I seem to have broken through. Yun Sheng could feel the fluctuation of flesh and blood in her body. She was sure that something must have happened to Bobo. Looking at the scratches on the ground, Yun Sheng realized that she had been in the ruins for a total of 2 months. However, she still needed some time before she could break through the final 8-tailed celestial fox inheritance. Bobo suddenly broke through. Something urgent must have happened. I'm afraid that the situation in Hu City is not good. Yun Sheng was a little worried. After thinking for a while, Yun Sheng decided to give up on comprehending the 8-tailed inheritance for the time being. If she wanted to completely comprehend the 8-tailed inheritance, she would need some time. However, she couldn't let go of the safety of Bo Bo, Hu Rulin, and the others. She had to rush back to Hu City. Yun Sheng slowly stood up and put away the 2 celestial fox inheritance pillars into the beast language ring. It's been 2 months. It's really hard to live like a rat crossing the street. It's time to leave. Yun Sheng looked around and saw that it was pitch black. Yun Sheng knelt down and kowtowed a few times in the direction of the celestial fox inheritance pillars. She was sincerely grateful to the experts of the celestial fox tribe who had sacrificed their lives. After kowtowing, Yun Sheng turned her eyes and her pupils turned golden. Her palms paused and her left and right hands turned into the Yama fox claws. Boom, boom. With 2 deafening sounds, Yun Sheng smashed the collapsed ruins with her palms. She jumped up, turned into a white shadow and flew straight into the air. At that moment, somewhere in the 8 desolate mountains, a golden-backed rock had just landed from a branch. We still can't find Master's body. 2 months had passed, but Boss Rock Feather had not given up on searching for Yun Sheng. That day Yun Sheng was killed by Yu Shang in the ancient seal. Boss Rock Feather had always felt guilty about it. Therefore, not long after the other Bakra orcs left, Boss Rock Feather could not take Yun Sheng and the others away from Yu Shang. He crawled out of the ruins and healed his wounds. After that, he did not give up on searching for Yun Sheng's whereabouts. Boss Rock Feather suddenly became alert. He seemed to have heard something. Around midnight, the entire 8 desolate mountains suddenly rang out with the howls of beasts. That was magical beasts. That was the howl of the king of magical beasts. Chapter 1270. That was the howl of a beast, but it was different from that of an ordinary beast. Boss Pengyu was not the only one who heard the howl. The other beasts in the 8 desolate mountain range also heard it. The beasts below the sage level were so frightened that their veins flowed backward and their bodies exploded. When the magical beasts above the sage stage heard the roar, their blood surged and they trembled in fear. They seemed to have heard the call of the Beast King and rushed to a certain place in the 8 desolate mountain range from all directions. More and more beasts appeared. The entire 8 desolate mountain range seemed to have been awakened. Even Boss Pengyu, who had obtained a portion of the ancient Golden Rock King's blood, couldn't help but feel an indescribable fear. Boss Pengyu raised his head. It was the 14th day today. There was a half moon in the sky. Who was that? Boss Pengyu saw a black figure. The black figure gradually became clearer. It was a graceful figure. It was a woman. Behind her there was 7 tails. Suddenly the black figure turned around. Her eyes were like torches as she looked down at Boss Pengyu on the ground. It's her. Boss Pengyu's voice was hoarse. It was Yun Xing, the celestial fox hybrid Yun Xing that everyone thought had died in the ruins of the ancient seal. Boss Pengyu, long time no see. How's the situation in the Hu capital? Yun Xing smiled. The seven-tailed celestial fox was an additional reward she had received after absorbing the seven-tailed celestial fox inheritance pillar. The seven-tailed inheritance of the 8 desolate mountain range, the Beast King's roar. It was the terrifying celestial fox inheritance that could make beasts below the god level, including beasts, tremble. Master, you're finally back. It's good that you're back. Something big happened recently. You must hurry back to the Hu capital. Around dawn tomorrow, the Hu capital will hold the celestial fox saintess enthronement ceremony. Boss Pengyu was unable to contain his excitement. He knelt on the ground and respectfully kowtowed to the newly born seven-tailed celestial fox Yun Sheng. When Boss Pengyu entered the ancient seal's eye that day, he had received Yun Sheng's instructions. Yun Sheng had ordered him to save people if anything happened. Unfortunately, he was unable to save them from Yu Shang. However, Boss Pengyu told Yun Sheng everything that had happened in Hu City in the past 2 months. Yu Shang had falsely accused Yun Sheng of being a celestial fox traitor, devouring the hearts of her own kind, and capturing Lu Yunshuang and the others. Yun Sheng was not too surprised by this news. As for the news that Hu Rulan was taken away by Green, Yun Sheng was relieved. There's no time to lose. Let's hurry to the Hu capital tonight. However, it's a long journey. We don't have a transportation formation like Hu Qianqiu's. I'm afraid we'll miss the enthronement ceremony of Celestial Fox Saintess. Yun Xing did not care about the Celestial Fox Saintess title, but if Yu Shang were to accuse her and get her wish to become the Celestial Fox Saintess, she would be displeased. Master, you don't have to worry about that. You've forgotten that I can now transform into a golden-backed rock. A golden rock can travel tens of thousands of miles day and night. The 8 desolate mountains are more than 60,000 miles away from the Hu capital. Master, you can ride the golden rock. We'll definitely reach the Hu capital before noon tomorrow. With that, Boss Pengyu shook his arms and transformed into a 2-meter-long golden-backed rock. With a leap, Yun Sheng was already standing on the golden-backed rock. The rock spread its wings like a glider. Yun Sheng and Boss Pengyu rushed toward the Hu capital. That night, 2 colorful wan birds let out a long cry in the sky outside the Hu capital. Lu and Hu Rulan were standing on the wan birds. Madam Rulan, are you sure that Yun Xing will appear at the Celestial Fox Saintess ceremony tomorrow? Lu, the young chief of the 9 Wan tribe, had a worried look on his face. 2 months ago, when Lu learned that Yun Xing had died in the 8 desolate mountains, he was shocked. He almost lost control and rushed to the 8 desolate mountains. Fortunately, Hu Rulan told him that Yun Xing was not dead. That child is not dead yet. My premonition told me that she will return. Compared to 2 months ago, Hu Rulan had changed. She had accepted the fact that Yun Sheng was not Hu Sheng. Even so, she still had a special feeling for Yun Sheng. Perhaps it was because Yun Sheng was about the same age as her daughter, and their appearances were too similar. Hu Rulan gradually understood her daughter's intention, Hu Sheng. Hu Sheng had always felt that she was not qualified to be the Celestial Fox Saintess because of her talent. However, she had always been thinking about the Celestial Fox tribe. She hoped that Yun Sheng, who had strong magic power and a strong mind, could replace her and become the Celestial Fox Saintess. She hoped that she could lead the Celestial Fox tribe to the top of the 8 desolate mountains again. Hu Sheng's wish was also Hu Rulan's wish. That was her daughter's last wish before she died. As her mother, she would help her to persuade Yun Sheng. Lu also believed that Yun Sheng was not dead. The Yun Sheng he knew would not be killed so easily. Therefore, when the Celestial Fox tribe announced to the public that the new saintess would be enthroned, Hu Rulan suggested that they return to Hu City. It was almost dawn. Around noon, after the Celestial Fox sacrificial ceremony, the new saintess of the Celestial Fox tribe would be enthroned. Lu and Hu Rulan entered Hu City. Hu City was very lively today. The entire city and its citizens were immersed in the good news that the new saintess was about to be enthroned. The Six-Tailed Celestial Fox. Several years after the disappearance of the previous saintess, the Celestial Fox people finally welcomed a powerful Celestial Fox Saintess. The enthronement ceremony of the Saintess was held in the Celestial Fox Temple. When the first ray of sunlight illuminated the city wall in the morning, the city gate was opened. The citizens of the Celestial Fox tribe from all over the capital came in an endless stream to see the new Celestial Fox Saintess. They all gathered outside the Celestial Fox Temple early in the morning. Both inside and outside the Celestial Fox Temple had been decorated. The Celestial Fox soldiers were on high alert, guarding all the entrances of the Celestial Fox Temple. Two petite figures blended into the crowd. Bo Bo and little Inying, who had transformed into human forms, were dressed as half-beast humans and squeezed into the crowd. Bo Bo wore a cloak to cover her eye-catching hair color. Although she was small, Bo Bo was strong. She barged through the crowd and the two little people squeezed into the Celestial Fox Temple. "Why are you squeezing? Everyone move aside. The clan leader, the Great Witch Doctor, the Council of Elders, and the Saintess are coming." The Celestial Fox soldiers blocked the crowd outside the temple. Lu and Hu Rulin also disguised themselves and blended into the crowd. "Look, it's the new Celestial Fox Saintess." There was a commotion in the crowd. The new Celestial Fox Saintess, Yu Shang, walked into the temple in a pure Saintess robe accompanied by many elders. When Yu Shang walked in, the crowd exclaimed in admiration. This was the Celestial Fox Saintess they had hoped for. She had amazing talent, noble bloodline, and extraordinary strength. Chapter 1271. Facing the admiring gazes of the Celestial Fox people, the chief of the Celestial Fox people, Hu Qianqiu, had a trace of uneasiness in his eyes. Hu Qianqiu was initially a little dissatisfied with Yu Shang becoming the Celestial Fox Saintess. He would rather have Yun Sheng become the Saintess. This was because the young patriarch of the Nine Luan tribe was unwilling to marry Yu Shang no matter what. However, when he thought about how Yu Shang's strength was extraordinary and how she had brought back the seven-tailed Celestial Fox inheritance that had not appeared for many years, it would be a great help for the Bahuang tribe competition in a few months. Thinking of this, Hu Qianqiu felt relieved. The Celestial Fox tribe indeed needed a Celestial Fox Saintess with the ability to rally people to revive the reputation of the Celestial Fox tribe. Ladies and gentlemen, today is the coronation ceremony of the Saintess of the Heavenly Fox tribe. As we all know, the competition for the position of Saintess this time is the fiercest and longest in the history of the Heavenly Fox tribe. Unfortunately, a traitor appeared during the selection of the Saintess of the Heavenly Foxes. She killed two innocent candidates for the Celestial Fox Saintess. However, fortunately, our new Saintess joined forces with the other Saintesses and successfully killed the traitor. She is our new Saintess, Yu Shang. Hu Qianqiu's enthusiastic opening speech made the people of the Celestial Fox tribe boil with excitement. Long live the patriarch, long live the new Saintess. Under everyone's gaze, Hu Qianqiu waved his hand, indicating for everyone to be quiet. In order to celebrate the ascension of the new Saintess, we will hold a Celestial Fox sacrifice. The sacrifice selected 1,000 humans who betrayed the Celestial Fox tribe and used their blood to celebrate the birth of the new Celestial Fox Saintess. Since ancient times, the Celestial Fox tribe had a tradition of using the blood of humans to celebrate various ceremonies. Moreover, the newly ascended Saintess had to cut off the head of the first human priest. However, the previous Celestial Fox Saintess, Hu Sheng, did not like blood. When she ascended the throne, she refused to perform such a sacrifice. Because of this, Hu Sheng was always regarded as a coward and incompetent person. The blood of 1,000 humans? This is simply a massacre. In the crowd, Hu Rulin and Green heard this and their expressions changed slightly. Hu Qianqiu and Yu Shang were too bloody. No, we can't let her run amok. Hu Rulin wanted to rush out of the crowd. Madam, don't act rashly. Green held down Hu Rulin. He looked around and did not see Yun Sheng. His heart sank. 1,000 humans were herded into the Celestial Fox Shrine. They were all dressed in rags. There were old and young, and there were even a few children in swaddling clothes. Lu Yunshuang was also mixed in with these humans. She had been drugged by the Great Witch Doctor and could not speak at all. Lu Yunshuang, do you regret this? Yu Shang grabbed Lu Yunshuang and looked at her frosty face. Lu Yunshuang could not speak. She glared fiercely at Yu Shang. Don't look at me so fiercely. Don't worry, I won't do anything to you. Let me see, which human should I choose to kill first? Yu Shang's eyes darted around and focused on a tall human man. He was a very tall human man with powerful limbs and a clean and pleasant face. When she realized who Yu Shang was staring at, Lu Yunshuang's body trembled violently. It's really him. Your lover? Poor Ice Fox clan. I heard that with your physique, if you mate with a man from another clan, he will be frozen into ice. Speaking of which, you should be thanking me. After I kill all of you, I'll bury all of you together. I'm wrong. I'll bury all 1,000 of you together, Yu Shang whispered viciously into Lu Yunshuang's ear. Lu Yunshuang struggled with all her might, but she was held down by Qin Yu. She could only watch as Yu Shang walked toward her lover. The human man was Lu Yunshuang's lover. He was a human ancient martial art practitioner. He did not even know what had happened before he was captured by Yushang's people. It was a pity that everyone in his village was captured together with him. He recognized Lu Yunshuang among the crowd. His eyes were filled with pain as he watched his lover being tied up. Tears welled up in his eyes. Diske, you're quite a good-looking young man. It's a pity that you're blind. Don't hate me so much. If you want to hate someone, hate Lu Yunshuang. If she knew what was good for her and cooperated with me, she wouldn't have killed so many people. Don't worry, I've always been good at killing people. Just one hit and your head will be broken. It won't hurt at all. With a look from Yushang, several celestial fox soldiers kicked the man's knees and pinned him to the ground. The man raised his head unyieldingly. There was only despair left in his heart. He looked up and saw the statue of the celestial fox in front of him. The first celestial fox people, Jianghu Yen, looked down at the 1,000 pitiful sacrifices. Lu Yunshuang's eyes were filled with tears. Don't worry, I'll protect you. She opened her mouth and mouthed at the human man. The human man was shocked. He seemed to have thought of something. No, Yunshuang. A tear streaked across Lu Yunshuang's face. The pride of the Ice Fox clan would not allow her to die in such humiliation at the hands of people like Yushang and Qinyu. She wanted to self-destruct her magical soul and die with Yushang. Just as Lu Yunshuang was in despair, she suddenly heard an angry shout. I've seen thick-skinned people, but I've never seen someone as thick-skinned as you. You old fox demon, how dare you call yourself the saintess of the celestial fox? Let's see if I don't expose your scheme. Several celestial fox soldiers who were in charge of maintaining order flew out from the crowd and crashed to the ground. A human figure appeared. Lu and Hu Rulan were shocked. They looked forward and saw the human man being saved by a little girl. Everyone present, including Yushang, was stunned. It was a pink-haired little girl who looked to be only 6 or 7 years old. She had curly hair, a round face, and a pair of large eyes that resembled glass balls. The little girl was very short, but her strength was astonishing. Lu Yunshuang's lover was 1.8 meters tall and weighed around 150 to 60 kilograms, but she easily lifted him with one hand. The scene was rather comical. Who are you? How dare you interfere with the coronation of the celestial fox saintess? Yushang was furious. Wait, what did this little girl who had appeared out of nowhere call her? Old witch. Yushang almost exploded. This was the second time someone had dared to call her an old witch. The first was Yun Sheng, who had died a long time ago, and the second was this little girl in front of her who had not even fully grown out her hair. I am who I am, the world deity of the human world. You old witch who has lived for who knows how many years, I will exercise my rights as a world deity and expose your true colors. The pink-haired little girl glared at her and said confidently. Chapter 1272. World God? What was that? Everyone was baffled by what they heard. Only the great witch doctor, who was no more than a heavenly fox, looked surprised when he heard Popo's words. She looked at Bobo. Even though it was weak, she could feel a god power from Bobo that was similar to that lord's. Bobo didn't notice that the great witch doctor was secretly sizing her up. The first time Bobo saw Yushang, she felt that she was weird. Now that she had turned into a human, her god power had recovered a little, and her senses were stronger. She could feel that there was a foul smell on Yushang's body. It was like a corpse that had been rotting for many years. Yushang wasn't a saintess candidate of Yudu. Bobo was sure that she was an old witch who had used sorcery to come back from the dead. Yushang wished she could tear Popo in half. However, in order to maintain her image as the sacred lady of the Sky Fox, she forced a smile. Hee little girl, where did you come from? I don't think you're a human. I'm just dealing with a few humans, so why are you causing trouble? As she said that, she put on an amiable look and tried to walk forward. Bobo. You shameless old witch, don't come near this world god. The smell of rotting corpses on your body is disgusting. Bobo's small face stiffened. Beside her, the two sides were like two guards. With two scraping sounds, they vigilantly floated in the air. The moment the pink sides appeared, they stirred up a small hurricane like a hurricane. Yushang didn't expect this young girl to have such terrifying power. Her expression changed and she flashed back. However, she couldn't stop herself from being affected by the divine power of the world god storm. Her saintess robe was instantly torn into rags and she looked very pathetic. The powerful energy wave that Bobo gave off shocked Yushang, Celestial Fox people Jianghu Qianxiu, and the others. Such destructive power? You killed Elder Lu's family. Yesterday, Elder Lu's residence was razed to the ground overnight as if it had been hit by a storm. Elder Lu's family, close to 100 people, were all dead. Due to the Celestial Fox Saintess ceremony being held today, Hu Qianqiu could only suppress the news for the time being and secretly search for the murderer's whereabouts. Who would have thought that the one who caused the tragedy of the Lu residence was actually this 6 or 7-year-old little girl in front of him? So what if I am? They weren't good people. They used baby and little Ying Ying's lives to threaten Master, forcing Master to go to the 8 desolate mountain range. They deserved to die. Baby's face was filled with disdain. I remember your voice. You are the magic beast of that traitor Yunsheng, that pink sheep. You actually transformed into a human? Qingyu was familiar with the sound of Bobo. When she heard little Ying Ying's voice, she immediately remembered that Bobo was Yunsheng's magical goat. At that time, she had personally handed little Ying Ying and Bobo to Elder Lu. Who would have thought that Elder Lu would be killed by such a little girl? So it's that mixed blood magic beast. TSK. It's rare that a magic beast can transform into a human. This saintess will personally capture you and hand you over to the great witch doctor to dissect you and see what kind of magic beast you are. When Yu Shang heard that Bobo and Yunsheng were in cahoots, she said viciously, "Damn Yunsheng." She had stopped her from becoming the Celestial Fox Saintess. Now Yunsheng's magic beast had appeared. She was really haunting her. Dissect your head. You old witch, ugly monster. You are already so old, but you still want to imitate a young girl to choose a saintess. Are the people of the Celestial Fox tribe blind or stupid? How could they choose an old woman who is thousands of years old to be their saintess? Bobo stuck out her tongue. She had a sharp tongue, so when she opened her mouth she scolded a bunch of people. The Celestial Fox people leader Qianqiu, and a group of Celestial Fox elders were also confused. A 1,000-year-old witch? What was this little girl talking about? Could it be that Saintess Yu Shang had some unspeakable secret? Shut up, you damn little bastard. You are as annoying as your master. Let me tell you, your master died in my hands. Do you believe that I won't eat you alive today? Yu Shang's eyes flashed fiercely. She was afraid that Bobo would reveal her identity if she spoke too much. Bobo, you old ugly witch who knows how to boast. Do you think you killed our master? Let me tell you, our master is so powerful that he can stomp you to death with a single toe. Bobo made a face at her. Yu Shang was furious. She let out a muffled groan as 6 fox tails appeared behind her. With a wave of her hand, the 6 fox tails gathered together and turned into a long whip. Yu Shang could tell that Bobo was a little special. She was too young, but her 2 pink sides were too strange. Celestial Fox Inheritance, 1000 Illusion Fox Whip. The fox whip in Yu Shang's hand was transformed from a fox tail. When she lashed it out, it turned into several whip shadows. Universe Deity Sides, go! Although Bobo had the help of the sides, she was still a beginner in fighting. She shouted and attacked Yu Shang with her sides. Yu Shang sneered and twisted the fox whip in her hand in the air. The 2 sides were trapped by the fox whip. Yu Shang lashed out with the fox whip, and the sides were about to fall into Yu Shang's hands. You want to take this Universe Deity's sides? Dream on. Universe Deity Sides, chop that woman's tails into pieces. Bobo spat and waved her little fist. The divine sickle, which was tightly trapped, suddenly became 1 size bigger. The 2 sickles let out a thunderous rumbling sound. Bang! A bolt of lightning jumped out of the sides and the sides broke free. They cut the fox whip into several pieces and went for Yu Shang's head. How dare you, little bastard! Yu Shang was in a sorry state. She took a few steps back and withdrew her fox whip. When she looked behind her, she saw that a small section of her 6 tails had been cut off. She looked like a female dog with a bald tail. What the hell was that thing? Even the 1000 Illusion Fox Whip was no match for it. Yu Shang was on her guard. Saintess, let this shaman give you a hand. Seeing that Yu Shang was in trouble, Great Witch Doctor took out a few strange black talismans and threw them at Bobo. Bobo recognized the talismans at a glance. They were the mysterious talismans that had caused her and little Ying Ying unbearable pain earlier. Scythe, come back. Bobo summoned the scythe back out of desperation. Celestial Fox Inheritance, Tenfold Fox Realm. Little girl, your scythe is mine. However, Yu Shang was very cunning. Suddenly, a celestial fox aura spread around her. The aura trapped the scythe and the connection between Bobo and the scythe was cut off. Chapter 1273. Bobo wasn't afraid of anything, but she was scared of those black talismans. For some reason, every time Bobo touched those talismans, she felt her strength being restrained. Help! Bobo doesn't want those talismans. Bobo jumped in fright as the unknown talismans were about to land on her body. She didn't want to experience that pain again. Suddenly, a black shadow appeared in the sky. A crisp, pleasant voice accompanied the figure as it descended from the sky and landed in front of Bobo. You have to look at the master before beating a beast. If anyone dares to hurt Bobo, I'll make sure their entire family is annihilated. Yun Sheng's words were like music to Bobo's ears. Ying, my dear master is back. She no longer cared about her dignity as a universe god. When she saw Yun Sheng, she burst into tears and snot. She lifted her pink head and threw herself into Yun Sheng's embrace without caring about anything else. Yun Sheng's beautiful eyes flashed, and the divine lotus hellfire formed a ring of fire around her body. As soon as the black talismans touched the divine lotus hellfire, they turned into ashes and fell to the ground. Traitor Yun Sheng, you're not dead. Yu Shang's expression changed when she saw Yun Sheng. When Bobo said that Yun Sheng wasn't dead, Yu Shang didn't care because she had seen Yun Sheng die in the ruins of the celestial fox with her own eyes. But when Yun Sheng suddenly appeared and blocked the Great Witch Doctor's black talismans, Yu Shang realized that Yun Sheng really wasn't dead. She wasn't dead. Yu Shang thought of the day when the last celestial fox's inheritance pillar appeared in the ancient Eye of the Seal. If Yun Sheng wasn't dead, wouldn't she have obtained the celestial fox's inheritance pillar? Who dares to step forward? Yun Sheng's eyes turned sharp. She suddenly faced the sky and let out a long howl. A sharp fox cry pierced through the 9 heavens. All the celestial fox people present felt their minds rumble. Even the chief of the celestial fox people, Hu Qianqiu, felt the blood in his body churning. Those celestial fox citizens with lower cultivation bases found it even harder to control themselves. They directly knelt down with a thud. This was an unprecedented feeling. Yu Shang's eyes widened in disbelief. The howl that sounded like that of a beast king was the inheritance of the celestial fox. With a long cry, the golden rock in the sky also landed beside Yun Sheng. It folded its wings and respectfully bowed to Yun Sheng. In the celestial fox shrine, the statue of Fox Smoke stood at the side. The huge shadow of the statue shrouded Yun Sheng. What was going on with this kind of might that could make even the non-human demonic beast fall for it? Behind her, there were 7 fox tails, which shocked everyone's eyes. 7 tails. It was actually 7 tails. 7 tails? She's a 7-tailed celestial fox? The celestial fox citizens were all in an uproar. They'd thought that the 6-tailed celestial fox Yu Shang was already a high and mighty existence. But now, a 7-tailed celestial fox had appeared. What's going on? Hu Qianqiu looked at Yun Sheng and Yu Shang. So what if she's a 7-tailed fox? Don't forget that this woman devoured the hearts of Hua Yanluo and Feng Lian. She only became a 7-tailed fox by breaking the rules of the celestial fox people. Yu Shang wasn't confident in facing the 7-tailed Yun Sheng. She only had one method left, which was to accuse Yun Sheng of devouring hearts to obtain a chance to break through. Yu Shang, I can't believe you would say that. My cultivation level is because I absorbed this celestial fox inheritance pillar. As for who devoured the hearts, you can ask Yun Shuang. Yun Shuang glanced at Lu Yun Shuang, who was standing nearby. She raised her hand and stabbed a hidden needle into Lu Yun Shuang's throat. Lu Yun Shuang felt a sweet taste in her throat and vomited a mouthful of black blood. The Great Witch Doctor watched from the side, his old face darkening. Yun Sheng had dispelled her restriction with a single move. Where did this woman come from? She was surprised and delighted to see Yun Sheng. She had been blaming herself for not stopping Yu Shang from killing Yun Sheng that day in the ancient seal's eye. That's right. Yun Sheng didn't kill Hua Yanluo and Feng Lian. It was Qin Yu who killed them. She devoured the hearts of her compatriots and obtained their celestial fox inheritance. The clan leader will know the truth if he comes forward to investigate. As soon as Lu Yunshuang could speak, Qin Yu and Yu Shang's expressions changed. Qin Yu in particular was so frightened that her expression changed drastically. No, I didn't kill them. The more Qin Yu spoke, the more confused she became. Her panicked expression made it seem as if she was trying to hide something. Could the clan leader really see through her? Impossible. Hu Qianqiu also furrowed his brows and walked forward. Among the celestial fox people's celestial fox inheritance, Hu Qianqiu, there was a technique called the 1,000-mile fox eye that could see through the Bakra orcs. Hu Qianqiu's eyes changed. A pair of double pupils appeared in his eyes. Under the effect of the double pupils, Qin Yu's celestial fox inheritance could not be seen at all. Hu Qianqiu looked at Qin Yu again and found that she really did possess Hua Yanluo's Yama Fox Claw and Feng Lian's Wind Blade inheritance. With this, the truth was revealed. Yu Shang, Qin Yu, Hu Linglong, and the others had previously insisted that it was Yun Sheng who had devoured their hearts. Now, however, it seemed that Qin Yu was the culprit. How dare you, Qin Yu? How dare you, a mere mixed blood, devour the hearts of your compatriots? Do you know that this is a violation of the rules of the celestial fox people? You should be sentenced to death by 1,000 cuts as a celestial fox. Hu Qianqiu flew into a rage. His words undoubtedly told everyone that Qin Yu was the culprit. Miss Yu Shang, save me. Qin Yu placed her last hope on Yu Shang. Useless thing, Yu Shang cursed in her heart. Yu Shang had long seen through whether Qin Yu had devoured the hearts or not. She had kept Qin Yu alive because this woman still had some value. Who would have thought that she would be so useless? Patriarch, it seems that we have misunderstood Yun Sheng this time. This traitor dared to frame her compatriots. She has committed a heinous crime and should be executed. Yu Shang saw that there was no turning back. She moved and struck Qin Yu's head with her palm. Qin Yu cried out in agony and her body fell limply to the ground. Patriarch, she's dead. Great Witch Doctor came forward to take a look. Take her away. A traitor like her is a disgrace to our celestial fox tribe. Hu Qianqiu was also furious. He waved his hand and ordered people to drag Qin Yu away. I say, old fox patriarch, we've found the culprit, but you seem to have forgotten something. Since our mistress isn't the culprit, and she has obtained the inheritance of the celestial fox tribe, and she's a seven-tailed celestial fox, she's the real winner of the celestial fox saintess competition. When Bo Bo saw that Qin Yu was dead, and then looked at her master's majestic appearance, she pouted her little mouth and started to babble on the side. Chapter 1274. Yu Shang's face fell when she heard those words. Hu Qianqiu was also in a difficult position. Indeed, during the celestial fox saintess selection ceremony, Hu Qianqiu had said that the final saintess would be the person who obtained the highest celestial fox inheritance in the 8 desolate mountain range. Because Yu Shang, Qin Yu and Hu Linglong had insisted that it was Yun Sheng who had harmed her compatriots, that Yun Sheng had died in the 8 desolate mountain range, and that Yu Shang had brought back the 7-tailed celestial fox inheritance pillar, all the elders of the celestial fox tribe, including Hu Qianqiu, had agreed to let Yu Shang become the saintess of the celestial fox tribe. But now the truth was out. Yun Sheng wasn't a traitor. She had also obtained the celestial fox inheritance. More importantly, she had become a 7-tailed celestial fox. When she had appeared in the celestial fox temple, the beast king roar she had displayed was indeed extraordinary. The saintess of the 7-tailed celestial fox tribe was second to none in the history of the celestial fox tribe. Nonsense. Who does she think she is? She's just a celestial fox bastard. Even her background is unclear. The first to object to Yun Sheng becoming the saintess wasn't Yu Shang, but Hu Linglong. Hu Linglong would rather Yu Shang become the celestial fox saintess than let Yun Sheng surpass her. Because once Yun Sheng became the celestial fox saintess, Lu would very likely agree to a marriage alliance with the celestial fox tribe. Her plan to marry Lu would be completely disrupted. Hu Linglong would never allow that to happen. That's right. Although this lady is a 7-tailed celestial fox, she has part of the human bloodline in her. Moreover, it's a human bloodline from the boundless world. The great witch doctor of the celestial fox tribe walked forward and stared at Yun Sheng with her withered eyes. Boundless world? The 7-tailed celestial fox Yun Sheng actually possessed the bloodline of a human from the boundless world. The beasts of the 8 desolates continent all harbored a deep hatred for the boundless continent. Sheng is not our enemy. Seeing that everyone was targeting Yun Sheng, Hu Rulin finally couldn't take it anymore. She rushed out of the crowd and walked towards Yun Sheng. Madame Rulin? Yun Sheng saw Hu Rulin and Lu. Lu looked at Yun Sheng with a gentle gaze. I can prove that this child is not a bad person. Her mother was the same as me, a 6-tailed celestial fox. We were born together in the Duqian blood realm. However, due to the heaven's will, her mother was separated from me and ended up in the boundless world. This child, like us, is celestial fox. She came to the 8 desolates continent to revive the celestial fox tribe. Hu Rulin had never spoken so much in front of the people of the heavenly fox tribe like she did today. Her words surprised her husband, Hu Qianqiu. He never knew that his wife, Hu Rulin, was such a persuasive person. Madam, I'm only here to send her ashes. I'm not here to revive. Yunxing was confused. When did she say that she was here to revive the celestial fox tribe? After Hu Rulin finished speaking, she grabbed Yunxing's hand tightly. She shook her head lightly, indicating that Yunxing did not need to explain further. Yunxing's current situation was very dangerous. Once the celestial fox people believed the great witch doctor's words and believed that Yunxing was an enemy of the human race from the 8 Desolates continent, the celestial fox people would gang up and attack her. Even the other beast races of the 8 Desolates continent would chase after Yunxing. Hu Rulin had already lost her daughter. She would never allow her sister, Hu Jiuxing's daughter, to suffer the same fate. My dear master, promise her first. Bobo feels that there's something wrong with the great witch doctor and Yushang. We have to stay in the celestial fox tribe for a while. Bobo also communicated with Yunxing through divine sense. Yunxing thought for a while and decided not to argue. Rulin, is what you said true? She's your sister's daughter? Is she your niece? Hu Qianqiu was also puzzled. Why did Yunxing look so similar to his useless daughter, Hu Sheng? Now that he put it that way, everything made sense. I dare to swear in the name of the celestial fox people's long fox smoke that what I said is true. This child has no intention of harming the celestial fox tribe. Hu Rulin's face was full of sincerity. After hearing Hu Rulin's words, the celestial fox people became restless again. The elders of the celestial fox elder council also began to discuss spiritedly. Chief, we've already decided to let Yushang be the saintess. If Yunxing is added, won't the celestial fox tribe have 2 saintesses? A mountain can't accommodate 2 tigers. How can a tribe have 2 saintesses? If word of this gets out, the other Bakra orcs will laugh their heads off. Hu Linglong's father, Hu Qiansui, saw that the situation wasn't right and questioned from the side. The outside world already knew that today was the celestial fox saintess coronation ceremony. But with Yunsheng's ruckus, should the ceremony continue? That's right. Yushang is the best candidate for the celestial fox saintess in terms of bloodline and talent. As for Yunxing, although she's a 7-tailed beast, she still has some human blood in her, the great shaman doctor spoke up. Hu Qianqiu hesitated. Chief Hu, if I may be so bold as to say something. The celestial fox saintess doesn't win by bloodline. Since there are 2 candidates, why don't we have another competition? Green, the young chief of the 9 Phoenix tribe, stepped forward. Hu Qianqiu was taken aback by his words. Why do you say that, young chief? The written and combat tests are already over. What else can we do to choose a more suitable candidate? Hu Qianqiu was more inclined towards Yunxing. After all, if Yunxing became the saintess, she would have the support of the 9 Phoenix tribe. It's simple. The so-called saintess is the saintess supported by the celestial fox tribe. The celestial fox tribe has many capitals and tens of thousands of people. Why don't we send 2 saintesses to the other capitals? In the end, the one who wins the hearts of the people and obtains the most faith will be the true celestial fox saintess. Green's words enlightened Hu Qianqiu. He was right. Since ancient times, the saintess of the heavenly fox tribe had represented the heavenly fox tribe and participated in some important activities of the 8 wilderness beast clans. She had another duty, which was to go to the disaster areas or battlefields when the heavenly fox tribe was in a major disaster or war. She would encourage the warriors, comfort the victims, and collect the power of faith. In terms of strength, both Yunxing and Yuchang were qualified to be the saintess of the heavenly foxes. But if they didn't win the hearts of the people, they wouldn't be the true saintess. Alright, I've decided. 3 days later, the 2 candidates will go to the south and north of the celestial fox tribe respectively. Whoever can gather the most faith in the shortest time will become the true celestial fox saintess. Hu Qianqiu's words startled Yunxing and Yushang. The reason why Yunxing was stunned was naturally because she did not know what the power of faith was. As for Yushang, Yushang smiled seductively. Collecting the power of faith? This time Yunxing was definitely no match for her. Chapter 1275. Yushang had been a saintess before, so she naturally knew about the so-called power of faith. However, Yunxing did not know about it. She had lived 2 lives. In her previous life, she was a doctor who was well-versed in both Chinese and Western medicine, but she was a classic atheist. In this life, Yunxing had heard of magic power, fighting aura in the boundless land, and the power of inheritance in the 8 Desolates continent. However, she had never heard of the power of faith. What was the power of faith? As for how to obtain it, it was still an unknown to Yunxing. The final test to become the celestial fox saintess was actually a test of the power of faith. However, Yunsheng was soon relieved. As the saying went, counter soldiers with arms and water with an earth weir. In any case, she would know about the power of faith once she embarked on her journey to the north. Due to Yunsheng's appearance, the celestial fox saintess ceremony had to be temporarily postponed. The next celestial fox saintess ceremony would be held after Yunsheng and Yushang completed their respective journeys to the south and north respectively. When that time came, the celestial fox tribe would welcome the true celestial fox saintess. After the celestial fox ceremony came to an end, Lu Yunshuang and her human lover thanked Yunsheng for saving their lives and returned to the inn to rest. As for Hu Rulin, she had a lot to say to Yunsheng, but Yunsheng was more worried about Popo and little Yingying's situation at the moment. Hu Rulin had no choice but to return to the celestial fox palace with Hu Qianqiu. After returning to the inn, Yunsheng inquired about Popo and little Yingying in detail. Only then did she know that during her absence, Popo had forcibly broken through and transformed into a human, and the power of the strange talisman in her body had disappeared. However, a portion of the strange talisman's power still remained in little Yingying's body. However, when Popo and little Yingying left the Lu mansion, they found a few bottles of medicine from Elder Lu that could last them for a few months. Although it can last for a few months, it's still a temporary solution. Unfortunately, Elder Lu was killed by Bobo. As for the Great Witch Doctor and Yushang, they will never tell us how to make the antidote. Yunsheng burned those strange talismans with the fire of divine lotus, but she deliberately kept some of the ashes of the talismans. As for those mysterious potions, Yunsheng couldn't find the formula. After taking out the ashes, Yunsheng looked at them carefully and found that the strange talismans had been burned to ashes. However, there were still some glittering golden runes on the strange talismans. Those runes weren't written with ordinary ink or cinnabar. Instead, they were condensed from some kind of power. If he didn't guess wrong, the source of the strange talisman's power was this mysterious power. It was also this power that had poisoned Popo and little Yingying. Dear Master, Bobo suddenly realized that these powers are somewhat familiar, but I can't remember where I've seen them before. Seeing those strange talismans, Bobo felt a headache. She also felt strange. Who and what kind of power could hurt her universe god-beast body? Bobo, since you don't know, maybe you can ask Ming Ri. Aren't you two fellow apprentices? If you don't remember, maybe he can remember? Yunsheng thought about it. Bobo was still too young. Her current appearance was at most that of a 6 or 7-year-old human child. Although Ming Ri was cold, at least he looked more reliable. Perhaps he would know something. As long as she could find the source of this mysterious power, she was sure that she could completely cure the poison in little Yingying. Then Bobo wouldn't have to be so cautious when she encountered those strange talismans next time. When Bobo heard that she wanted to summon Ming Ri, she was reluctant. She pouted her cute little mouth, looking very cute. Ming Ri would definitely laugh at her if he saw her 6 or 7-year-old appearance. However, it was related to little Yingying's safety. Bobo had to do it even if she was reluctant. Bobo unwillingly took out the jade that Ming Ri had given her and tried to summon Ming Ri. But this time, Bobo called several times, but Ming Ri didn't respond. Ming Ri doesn't seem to be in the underworld. Bobo didn't see Ming Ri's iceberg face and felt a little disappointed. She shook her head and got rid of the strange thoughts in her mind. She wouldn't admit that she missed Ming Ri a little. Bobo's jade was given to her by Ming Ri. It was the link between the two of them. As long as Ming Ri was in the underworld or the human world, he could immediately feel Bobo's call. But if Ming Ri wasn't in these two places, then she couldn't feel it. So Ming Ri shouldn't be in the human world or the underworld. Bobo secretly thought, bad Ming Ri, as a universe god of the underworld, he actually left his post without permission. Humph, when she becomes an official universe god in the future, she must report to Mother God. It's a pity that we can't find Ming Ri. We can only temporarily suppress the poison in little Yingying's body with potions. But Bobo, you have the body of a universe god. It's reasonable to say that only one kind of power can hurt you, and that is the power of God. Only the power of God can hurt the body of a universe god. Yunsheng pondered. Hey dear master, do you mean that there is a god behind the Great Witch Doctor? Bobo tilted her small head and thought for a while. She also felt that Yunsheng's words were reasonable. But it should be just my random guess. The human world and the underworld should only have their own universe gods, right? Yunsheng couldn't help but feel funny for her overthinking. If there were other gods in the human world, wouldn't the world be in chaos? Gods were not ordinary mythological beasts, martial gods, or magic gods. They were real gods. According to the four totem mythological beasts Vermilion Bird, once one became a god, he must embark on the path of gods and go to the god world. Yes, the human world and the underworld are very special places. The only god here is the universe god. Although Bobo is just a universe god, there is only one god in the human world. Bobo's pink little head was held high, like a proud little peacock. She was the only universe god in the human world, chosen by the mother goddess. There would not be other gods in the human world. Dear Master must be overthinking. As long as a part of her Bobo energy recovered, she should be able to find the mastermind behind the strange talisman very soon. At that time she would definitely banish that person to the darkest corner of the human world so that he or she would never be able to beg for death. Well, let's tidy up and go to the north of the celestial fox tribe. Yunsheng looked at Bobo's angry face and patted her little head. Dear Master, don't worry. With Bobo you will be able to collect a lot of faith power. North, Master and Bobo are coming. Bobo's little face was full of joy. Chapter 1276. The deity realm was a corner of the deity realm governed by the four cardinal supreme gods. It was an empty starry sky, and above the starry sky floated a throne. The four cardinal god was nowhere to be seen in front of the illusory four cardinal god. There was only a golden star in the void that shone with a gentle light. Ming-Ri stood in front of the four cardinal gods. Because he was in the god realm, Ming-Ri didn't know that Popo had just summoned him. Mother Goddess, Bobo has just evolved into a human form not too long ago. Shouldn't we let her return to her position as a world deity so that she can grow faster? Ming-Ri, the Mother Goddess wanted to summon you to tell you this. From now on you don't have to worry about Bobo anymore. A gentle and pleasant voice came from the golden star. The Nether Sun was slightly surprised. Supreme Divinity Four Cardinal Directions was his and Popo's Mother Goddess. She had raised the two of them and she loved Popo the most. It wasn't easy for him to find Bobo. Why did the Mother Goddess say that from now on he shouldn't care about Bobo? What she meant was that he shouldn't interfere with Bobo's matters. Mother Goddess, why? Although she was not able to take office on time due to her mistake, she was still a world deity of the mortal realm. The mortal realm had been empty for thousands of years without a world deity. This is very detrimental to the stability of the mortal realm. Ming-Ri could sense that a crisis was brewing in the mortal realm. Ming-Ri, Bobo has made a big mistake. We've been trying to cover for her all these years. However, she still made a mistake. The supreme gods of the god world have already chosen a new world god candidate, for cardinal god side. Although Popo was cowardly and useless, she was still the main god she doted on the most. For thousands of years, four cardinal gods had been searching for Bobo's whereabouts, but the human realm could not be without a master. A new world deity had been chosen, and if Bobo did not live up to expectations, she could only be abandoned. Mother Goddess, could it be that Bobo cannot become a world deity? Wouldn't she become an abandoned god? Her current situation is too dangerous. Ming-Ri's heart trembled. This news was too sudden. Originally, he thought that Bobo would be one step closer to the position of world god after becoming a human. However, Mother Goddess said that there was already a new world god candidate in the human realm. There were rules in the deity world. Deities could not easily travel to other worlds, especially the mortal world and the underworld. Only world deities from the human world and the underworld deities could travel between the three worlds under special circumstances. Otherwise they would break the rules and be punished by the deity. If Bobo could not become a world deity, she would become an abandoned god. Such gods could not return to the god world. They could only exist in the mortal world like ghosts. What was even worse was that the abandoned gods would become the pursuers of all sorts of magical beasts and humans due to their divine bodies and divine bloodlines. This was because as long as they devoured the divine bodies and divine bloodlines, they would be able to obtain a portion of divine power. This would give them a chance to open the path to becoming a true god. If what the Mother Goddess said was true, then Popo's situation would be very dangerous. No, I'm just saying that she can't directly become a world deity, but that doesn't mean that she's completely disqualified. When the other supreme gods proposed the candidates for the new world deity, I tried my best to fight for Popo. Without the help of divine power, if she can rely on her own ability to win the support of the mortal world, she can still become a world deity. Ming-Ri immediately understood the meaning of Supreme God Four Directions. Both Popo and the new world deity candidate were candidates for the world deity in the human world. As for who could become a true world deity in the human world, it would depend on their own abilities. This was the world deity between deities. Mother God, who is the new universe God candidate? Ming-Ri knew that he couldn't fight for Bo anymore since things had come to such a stage. The deity world was different from the mortal world. Although there was no classification of magicians and warriors, there were different levels. In the deity world, the Master God was the most basic god. Above that were the Supreme Gods and God Emperors. Supreme God Four Directions was a Supreme God. Ming-Ri and Popo were originally Master Gods. They took orders from their respective Mother Goddess. Supreme God Four Directions was born in the ancient Chaos era. She had strong divine power and a merciful heart. She had a noble status in the deity world. But other than her, there were other Supreme Gods. When Supreme God Four Directions rejected the opinions of the masses and selected Popo as the world deity in the human world, many Supreme Gods expressed their dissatisfaction. They all thought that Popo did not have strong divine power nor outstanding intelligence. She was not qualified to be the world deity in the human world. It was Supreme God Four Directions who argued for Popo to retain her identity as the world deity in the human world. Who knew that when Popo took office she encountered the most chaotic period in the history of the human world. Since the bloody battle between the Eight Wastelands and the Eight Wastelands of the Eight Wastelands had stirred the mortal world into chaos, Bo, as a universe god in the mortal world, was also affected by the battle and her whereabouts were unknown. This matter had always been regarded as a joke in the deity world. They thought that Popo, as a god, could not even rule the ant-like human clan and the beast clan. Her identity as the world deity in the human world became the most controversial matter in the deity world. The new candidate is the young clan leader of the Shi clan, one of the ancient sacred clans. Supreme God Four Directions said helplessly when he mentioned the name. What? The young clan leader of the Shi clan? Mother God, this person has always been infamous in the deity clan. The deity clan he belongs to is one of the 100 clans in the deity world. Popo has no chance of winning against him. Although Ming-Ri was already mentally prepared, he did not expect that the other supreme gods would choose such a strong competitor. The ancient sacred clans were one of the deity clans that founded the deity world. The 100 clans in the deity world were very powerful in the deity world. Many supreme gods in the deity world had good relations with the Shi clan. As for the young clan leader of the Shi clan, he was even more infamous. His divine power was very strong. If Ming-Ri fought with him, he might not be able to win 100% of the battle, let alone Popo who had just recovered part of her divine power. Ming-Ri, you should believe in Popo. As a world deity she has more than just divine power. You and I have spoiled her too much in the past. That girl has been muddle-headed for thousands of years. It is time for her to wake up. Moreover, Popo's life is filled with misfortune and misfortune. She has a lucky star in her life. Supreme God Four Directions' voice became stern. Destined benefactor. Ming-Ri thought of Bobo who was in the human world and Bobo's owner, Yunsheng. Could it be that woman was Bobo's destined benefactor? Forget it, Popo's matter ends here. Remember, you can't get involved in the battle between Popo and the Shi clan. Otherwise, it will only bring more trouble to Popo. After Supreme God Four Directions finished speaking, the golden starlight disappeared. In the Four Directions divine palace, there was only an illusory starry sky left. Ming-Ri stood quietly in the Four Directions divine palace for a moment. His eyes were unusually serious. Chapter 1277. Inside the Celestial Fox Palace, Hu Qianqiu questioned Hu Rulin. Is that woman really your niece? You're clearly an orphan, where did your niece come from? Hu Qianqiu didn't question Hu Rulin at the Celestial Fox Temple, but once he returned to the Celestial Fox Palace, he couldn't hold back and started interrogating her. Is it important whether she is or not? Hu Qianqiu, you've never cared about the life and death of me and my daughter. To you there's only the difference between having value and not. Hu Rulin's heart towards Hu Qianqiu had long been dead in the past few months. Her return to the Celestial Fox Palace was only a temporary measure. Humph, you better hope that woman can really be qualified to be the saintess of the Celestial Fox and marry Green as soon as possible. Otherwise you two will see. Hu Qianqiu flicked his sleeves and left angrily. As soon as Hu Qianqiu left, Hu Rulin couldn't help but take out her daughter Hu Sheng's ashes. Sheng, don't worry. You always wanted to help the Celestial Fox tribe and restore the prestige of the Celestial Fox tribe. Mother will do everything to help you fulfill your last wish. Yunsheng is a very good girl. Mother also hopes that she can be elected as the saintess. I hope that you approve of everything that Mother has done. Hu Rulin placed Hu Sheng's ashes in the room. She pondered for a moment and finally made up her mind to write a letter to Yun Sheng. Hearing that Hu Rulin sent a letter, Yun Sheng was a little surprised. She opened the letter and read it. In the letter, Hu Rulin wanted to invite Yun Sheng to the Celestial Fox Palace for a chat. After Yun Sheng returned from the 8 desolate mountain range, she didn't have a chance to talk to Hu Rulin. However, judging from the situation in the Celestial Fox Shrine, Hu Rulin's situation was much better than when she had first met her. Hu Rulin should have accepted the fact that Hu Sheng had passed away. I don't know why Madame Rulin has invited me, but I'll still make a trip to the Celestial Fox Palace. Yun Sheng went to the Celestial Fox Palace and found Hu Rulin. Although Hu Rulin had seen Yun Sheng several times, she was still dazed for a while when she saw Yun Sheng again. Madame Rulin? Yun Sheng felt a little awkward being stared at by Madame Rulin. I'm sorry I was rude. Yun Sheng, do you mind if I call you Shenger? Hu Rulin wiped the corners of her eyes. Her voice was choked with sobs. When she saw Yun Sheng, she thought of her daughter. However, Yun Sheng was Yun Sheng and her daughter Hu Sheng was Hu Sheng. Both of them were unique to their respective relatives. Madame Rulin, you don't have to be so polite. My mother calls me Shenger. After Yun Sheng arrived at the 8 desolate continent, she missed her father and mother who were far away in the boundless continent. When she saw Hu Rulin, she felt very close to her. Hu Rulin and Hu Sheng were the same. Although they were timid and weak, there was a sense of tenacity in their bones. Madame Rulin, I've always wanted to ask you something. Are you and my mother really sisters? Yun Sheng was still very concerned about what Hu Rulin said at the Celestial Fox Shrine. In that case, Hu Rulin was her second aunt, and Hu Sheng was her cousin. That's right. You're wearing this ring on your finger, right? Hu Rulin took out a ring. When Yun Sheng saw the ring, she was stunned. The simple and unadorned ring on Hu Rulin's finger was exactly the same as the beast language ring on her finger. Why are there 2 beast language rings? The beast language ring that Hu Jiusheng had left for Yun Sheng was of great significance to Yun Sheng. It was her who had allowed Yun Sheng to possess Bo Bo. It was also her who had allowed Yun Sheng to become a summoner. All along, Yun Sheng had thought that the beast language ring was unique. She did not expect Hu Rulin to have a beast language ring as well. I was right. I had this ring when I was born. It should be the same for your mother's ring. Hu Rulin looked at the beast language ring and sighed with emotion. They had the same birth, the same bloodline, and the same ring. However, Hu Rulin and Yun Sheng's mother's fates were completely different. The daughter that they gave birth to had completely different personalities. Although Hu Rulin had never met Hu Jiusheng, just by looking at Yun Sheng, she believed that Yun Sheng's mother must be a strong, beautiful, and powerful woman like Yun Sheng. Hu Rulin could not help but feel envious. No, your beast language ring is a little different from mine. My beast language ring is a storage ring and a summoning ring at the same time. Yun Sheng took over Hu Rulin's beast language ring. After a round of inspection, Yun Sheng discovered the difference between the 2 rings. It seemed that Hu Jiusheng's beast language ring had a much more powerful function. However, just as Yun Sheng was inspecting the beast language ring, her hand suddenly shook. She felt a weak force from the beast language ring entering her mind. Yun Sheng recognized that force immediately. That was the power of inheritance. Why would there be power of inheritance in the beast language ring? Before Yun Sheng could think about it carefully, a voice automatically flashed in her mind. That voice seemed familiar, but it also seemed very unfamiliar. Celestial Fox Inheritance, Beast Language Ring. Hu Rulin's beast language ring actually contained a Celestial Fox Inheritance. Yun Sheng had unknowingly obtained her 7th Celestial Fox Inheritance. Seeing Yun Sheng holding the beast language ring without moving for a long time, Hu Rulin was a little puzzled. Sheng, are you feeling unwell? Why do you look so pale? Hu Rulin looked worried. Madame Rulin, I'm fine. About this beast language ring, have you used it before? Yun Sheng did not know whether to laugh or cry. She had picked up a random ring and learned a Celestial Fox Inheritance. She really did not know whether it was a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a storage ring. My daughter, Hu Sheng, used it for a few years, but later on for some reason she returned the ring to me. Hu Rulin did not know that there was a Celestial Fox Inheritance hidden in the beast language ring. Hu Sheng used it before? Then this Celestial Fox Inheritance was Hu Sheng again. Yun Sheng suddenly felt that although Hu Sheng did not have any ability, she seemed to have arranged everything in secret. In the end, a small matter of giving away the ashes of the deceased parents had caused her to be in deep trouble. She had really fallen into Hu Sheng's trap. Although Yunxing had doubts in her heart, she didn't tell Hu Rulin about it. She did not want Hu Rulin to be reminded of other sad things. Since Hu Xing has used the beast language ring before, madam, you should keep it first. If there's a chance in the future, perhaps you can bring the beast language ring to the boundless land and look for my mother. I believe she will be very happy to see you. When Yunxing entered the Celestial Fox Palace, she felt that this magnificent palace was like a prison to Hu Rulin and Hu Sheng. Go to the boundless land? Can I really go? Hu Rulin widened her melancholic eyes. Of course you can. I promise you that I will send you to the boundless land after this matter is settled. Yunxing comforted Hu Rulin. Chapter 1278. After hearing Yunxing's words, Hu Rulin's heart was filled with warmth. Ever since her daughter's death, she hadn't felt this kind of care from someone for a long time. Yunxing was sincerely thinking for her. Thank you. It's just that I can't leave the Celestial Fox Palace. Let's not talk about this anymore. I called you here today because I want to pass on my one and only Celestial Fox inheritance to you. Hu Rulin called Yunxing over not only to ask about Yunxing and her mother, but also to pass on her one and only inheritance, dream prediction, to Yunxing. Celestial Fox inheritance, dream prediction? Yunxing didn't expect that Hu Rulin would pass on her one and only Celestial Fox inheritance. Hu Rulin told Yunxing that dream prediction was a very special Celestial Fox inheritance. In the Celestial Fox tribe, other than Hu Rulin, no one else knew dream prediction. After learning dream prediction, one would be able to predict what might happen in the future through dreams. One would also be able to see the person one wanted to see through dreams. Hu Rulin also told Yunxing that she was able to meet Yunxing in the Celestial Fox Temple because of the guidance of dream prediction. What a magical Celestial Fox inheritance. However, it's a pity that I already have 7 Celestial Fox inheritances. I won't be able to learn this new inheritance for the time being. Yunxing secretly felt that it was a pity. Although dream prediction didn't have any actual offensive or defensive abilities, the mysterious ability to foresee was very magical. After Yunxing came to the 8 Desolates mainland, she had always wanted to find Yi Baiming. According to their agreement in the underworld, they should have met long ago. However, for some reason there was no news of Yi Baiming. Yunxing also tried to find out, but there was no news at all. If she could learn foresight, she might have a chance to find Night Fox. However, Yunxing already had the Celestial Fox's Coil, Yama's Fox Claw, Golden Puppet Eyes, Traceless Fox, Beast King's Roar, and the 8-tailed Celestial Fox inheritance that she had yet to fully learn. In addition, she had just obtained the Celestial Fox inheritance beast language from the other beast language ring. With that, Yunxing already had 6 Heavenly Fox inheritances that she had learned and 1 Heavenly Fox inheritance that she had yet to learn. In other words, she had 7 inheritances. This meant that Yunxing had already reached the maximum number of inheritances that she could learn in her 7-tailed state. At the thought of this, Yunxing muttered in her heart. Since when did the inheritance of Celestial Fox become so cheap? It was like cabbages that could be found everywhere. Although Yunxing's talent was shocking, she was still limited by the Celestial Fox bloodline. According to the Celestial Fox tribe saying, the number of foxtails determined the number of inheritances one could learn. Unless Yunxing broke through the 8-tailed Celestial Fox, only then could she learn the 8th inheritance that Hu Rulin mentioned, foresight. You mean? You already have 6 inheritances? You still have one that you haven't finished learning? How is that possible? Hu Rulin's face was filled with shock. Although she knew that Yunxing was a 7-tailed Celestial Fox and that her talent was much better than her daughter, Hu Xing, she actually had 6 or 7 Celestial Fox inheritances at such a young age. The rest of the Celestial Fox tribe, including Hu Qianqiu, probably did not know about this matter. Yunxing laughed awkwardly. If that's the case, then there's no other way. However, I can first copy down the Dream Predictor transcription. When you break through one day, perhaps it will come in handy. After Hu Rulin finished speaking, she wrote it down seriously. However, Yunxing and Hu Rulin both understood that Yunxing wanting to break through to the 8-tailed level wasn't something that could be done in a short period of time. After all, even the current chief of the Celestial Fox people, Hu Qianqiu, was only a 7-tailed Celestial Fox. In the history of the Celestial Fox tribe, the first Celestial Fox people, Hu Yin, was only an 8-tailed Celestial Fox. After telling Yunxing the foresight dream cultivation method, Hu Rulin carefully instructed her again. Xing, you have to depart to the north of the Celestial Fox tribe in the next few days. The north of the Celestial Fox tribe isn't as remote as Hu City. Furthermore, there are beasts from other tribes roaming around. The people of the Celestial Fox tribe there are also living in poverty. Remember, you must be careful along the way. Hu Rulin was like a kind mother, repeatedly reminding her daughter who was about to go on a long journey. Rest assured, Madame Rulin. That's right, Madame Rulin. Do you know that in the history of the Celestial Fox tribe, there was a Celestial Fox saintess called Hu Yushang? After Yun Xing found out about Yushang's true identity, she had always been suspicious. Hu Yushang? I seem to have heard of this name before. She seems to be the first saintess in the history of the Celestial Fox tribe. She was from the same era as the great chief of the Celestial Fox tribe, Hu Yen. However, she disappeared without a trace later on. Hu Rulin had some impression of this name because of the appearance of the jade garment of Yudu. It's nothing, I was just casually asking. Madame Rulin, let's meet again another day. After Yun Xing bade farewell to Hu Rulin, she prepared to stand up and leave the Celestial Fox Palace. Just as she walked to the entrance of the palace, she saw the young chief of the Nine Wan tribe, Green, waiting at the side. After the incident at the Celestial Fox Shrine, Green was invited by Hu Qianxiu to temporarily stay at the Celestial Fox Palace. For the past few days he had been looking for Yun Xing, but he didn't know what reason to look for her. Today, when he heard that Yun Xing had entered the palace, he had been waiting outside. When Green saw Yun Xing, his face suspiciously turned red. Young Chief Yun Xing, thank you for taking care of Madame Rulin for me. When Yun Xing saw Green, she nodded. Before the incident at the Eight Desolates mountain range, she had entrusted Green to take care of Hu Rulin. After the incident, Green had temporarily taken Hu Rulin away. For this, Yun Xing was still very grateful. Miss Yun, you don't have to be so polite. Green looked at Yun Xing's delicate face, his mouth not listening to his commands. He fixed his gaze on Yun Xing. After not seeing her for a few months, Yun Xing had become even more beautiful. She, who was already a celestial fox with 7 tails, was like a rose in spring. Her skin was as white as jade, graceful and graceful. Just by standing there, she was so dazzling that people couldn't take their eyes off her. Green felt his heartbeat quicken a little. Young Chief, I'm actually very curious. Have we met somewhere before? Seeing Green's strange expression, Yun Xing suddenly leaned forward and stared at Green's face carefully. Green's entire face was flushed red. When Yun Xing suddenly came so close, he could smell the unique fragrance of herbs from her body. Her black eyes, almost transparent skin, and plump lips were a fatal temptation to Green. We met in the Duqian blood realm. We stayed in the cave together for a night. Green's breathing was unbearably tight. Oh, I remember now. You're that little boy who looks easy to bully. Yun Xing finally remembered. However, Green didn't look like a handsome guy at that time. At that time, Green was like a bun that people couldn't help but want to bully. A little boy who looks easy to bully. Green's gaze couldn't help but change. It seemed that Yun Xing had always seen him as a target to bully. Chapter 1279. But if it was Yun Xing, he would accept it even if he was bullied for the rest of his life. Green's eyes flickered. Yun Xing, you'll be heading to the north of the Heavenly Fox tribe tomorrow. I hope to hear good news from you. Lu's lips curled into a smile. Thank you for your kind words, young chief. I'll take my leave now. Yun Xing nodded and was about to leave. Big brother Green, what are you doing over there? Behind them, a rude and unreasonable voice suddenly interrupted. Hu Linglong ran over angrily. She heard that Green was living in the Celestial Fox Palace these days, so she had been looking for various excuses to go to the palace, but Green always refused to see her. She finally met Green today, but she didn't expect that the damn Celestial Fox bastard was also there. Just now, she saw Yun Xing and Green standing very close to each other from afar. When she looked again, she saw that Green's face was also red. Hu Linglong had known Green for so long, but she had never seen Green with such an expression. He looked at Yun Xing tenderly as if no one else could enter his eyes. At the thought that Yun Xing would marry Green if she became the saintess, Hu Linglong's heart was filled with jealousy. Hu Linglong, I don't think I need to explain what we're doing to you. Yun Xing hadn't settled the score with Hu Linglong for framing her with Yushang last time. You're a mixed-blood bastard. Don't think you're invincible just because you're lucky. Let me tell you, a bastard like you will never become the Celestial Fox Saintess. Don't even think about coveting Brother Green. He's mine. As Hu Linglong spoke, she hugged Green's hand. Green's eyes turned cold and he jerked his hand back. He glanced at Yun Sheng, afraid that she would misunderstand. Hu Linglong, what nonsense are you talking about? I have nothing to do with you. Lu and Hu Linglong were in a deadlock. Yun Sheng looked at the two of them. She already had enough things to worry about. She was too lazy to participate in any triangular relationship. Young patriarch, I'll take my leave first. Hu Linglong, the saintess of celestial fox, I must have her. Yun Sheng swaggered off after saying that. Hu Linglong, if you dare to spout nonsense in front of Yun Sheng again, don't blame me for being rude. Green was also very angry. Hu Linglong, this woman, kept pestering him again and again. He was already very annoyed. Big brother Green, you clearly know that I like you. Are you doing this for Yun Sheng? What was so good about her? She's just a mixed blood. She's not worthy of you. Hu Linglong was furious. No one had ever dared to treat her like this. I like Yun Sheng no matter who she is, whether she is a celestial fox or a human. I won't marry anyone but her in this lifetime. Green's words made Hu Linglong's heart turn cold. It's impossible between you and her. Just wait and see. As long as I, Hu Linglong, am here, Yun Sheng will never become the saintess of celestial fox. Hu Linglong stomped her feet and ran out of the celestial fox palace in anger. Damn Yun Sheng. Her appearance had ruined Hu Linglong's entire plan. She had lost the position of the saintess of celestial fox. She had also lost Green. Green was completely devoted to that woman. After leaving the celestial fox palace, Green's words kept echoing in Hu Linglong's mind. No matter what, she couldn't let Yun Sheng have her way. Hu Linglong ran all the way to the witch doctor tower. She had to find Yu Shang. When she agreed to cooperate with Yu Shang had personally promised to help her get Green. Yu Shang, get out here. Hu Linglong was still a little afraid of the witch doctor tower. But now Green's words had gotten to her head. She didn't care about the rumors about the witch doctor tower and rushed out of the witch doctor tower. Hu Linglong only found out a few months ago that Yu Shang had the support of the great witch doctor of the celestial fox tribe. What are you shouting for, Hu Linglong? The great witch doctor's aged voice suddenly appeared behind Hu Linglong, giving her a fright. Great witch doctor, I'm here for Yu Shang. She promised me that as long as I cooperate with her, she will help me get Green after she becomes the saintess of celestial fox. She will make Green loyal to me. But now that Yun Sheng is back, Green still ignores me. Hu Linglong couldn't help but feel short of breath when facing the great witch doctor. But when she thought about how Yun Sheng was being intimate with Green while she was being ignored by Green, she mustered up her courage. Lady Yu Shang hasn't become the saintess yet. If you want to blame someone, blame that Yun Sheng. The great witch doctor glanced at Hu Linglong. This stupid purebred celestial fox was really hot-tempered. If her demands weren't met, she would probably make a fuss everywhere. Then let Yu Shang find a way to kill that celestial fox bastard. She's just a mixed-blood bastard. How dare she become the saintess of celestial fox? Hu Linglong gnashed her teeth. I have a way to help you get rid of Yun Sheng so that she can't become the saintess. But I need your cooperation. The great witch doctor's voice was as seductive as a viper's. What is it? As long as it can prevent that Yun Sheng from becoming the saintess, I'm willing to do anything. Hu Linglong couldn't help but ask. You know that in a day Lady Yu Shang and Yun Sheng will go to the south and north to collect the power of faith. If another Yun Sheng appears in the north at this time, and that Yun Sheng is doing evil everywhere, what do you think will happen? The great witch doctor's words made Hu Linglong happy. If there was another Yun Sheng, as long as she did all kinds of bad things in the local area, the local heavenly fox people would naturally not support her, let alone the power of faith. But where can I find a woman who looks exactly like Yun Sheng? That damned Hu Sheng looks a lot like her, but Hu Sheng died a long time ago. Hu Linglong gritted her teeth. Linglong, you look a little like Yun Sheng. Here's a divine talisman. Take it back, burn it to ashes and drink it. Then imagine Yun Sheng's appearance and you'll look exactly like her. Then you can pretend to be Yun Sheng and do whatever you want. The great witch doctor took out a mysterious black talisman as he spoke. The talisman was very similar to the one that little Inying and baby Bo had been afraid of. Hu Linglong looked at the talisman, still a little hesitant. After all, she had heard from her father, Hu Qian Sui, that the great witch doctor wasn't an easy person to get along with. She always felt that the great witch doctor and Yu Shang were strange. Every time she saw them, she felt a chill run down her spine. However, when she thought of Green's cold words, the last trace of hesitation in her heart disappeared. She took the talisman and immediately left the witch doctor tower. Stupid woman, before your body is devoured by the power of God, You can be of some help. The great witch doctor sneered, a dark light flashing in her eyes. Chapter 1280. Grand Shaman returned to the Witch Doctor Tower. Yushang was in seclusion on the top floor. She was making her final preparations before leaving Hu City for the south. Yushang had learned of Hu Linglong's intrusion, but she didn't want to deal with that stupid woman, so she sent Grand Shaman to deal with Hu Linglong. However, Yushang didn't know what Grand Shaman's orders were. On the top floor of the Witch Doctor Tower, Yushang's expression darkened. She'd been in seclusion for several days, but she hadn't made any progress. Both of them had received the seven-tailed celestial fox's inheritance, but why couldn't she comprehend it and become a seven-tailed celestial fox? The celestial fox's inheritance pillar she'd obtained from the ancient seal was still standing in front of Yushang. 2 months had passed, but Yushang still hadn't fully comprehended the seven-tailed celestial fox's inheritance. This was why she'd become more and more irritable over the past few days. Ever since Yun Sheng had disrupted her plans at the Celestial Fox Shrine, Yushang's mind had been in a mess. That damned Yun Sheng. Not only had she survived, but she'd also profited from her misfortune. She'd obtained the Beast King's roar from the ancient seal and broken through to become a seven-tailed celestial fox. 7 tails. How could an ordinary hybrid possess the bloodline of the 7 tails? Why was Yun Sheng able to learn the Beast King's roar in 2 months, but she hadn't comprehended her 7-tailed inheritance? Lady Yushang, I've sent Hu Linglong away. Grand Shaman bowed. You've been frustrated for several days. You'll be leaving for the south tomorrow, so please stay calm. How can I stay calm? That mixed blood's talent is too monstrous. I can't lose to her, Yushang said, then her gaze fell on a corner. Someone was curled up in the corner. That person was the celestial fox, Qinyu, who'd been killed by Yushang. That day in the Celestial Fox Shrine, in order to hide her collusion with Qinyu, Yushang had acted first and killed Qinyu. However, Qinyu was still useful to Yushang, so she and the Great Shaman Doctor were able to fool the other Celestial Fox tribesmen. After that, the Great Witch Doctor brought Qinyu back to the Witch Doctor Tower. After Qinyu was brought back, she was terrified. She didn't know what Yushang would do to her. Yushang was a vicious and temperamental person. What was even more terrifying was that she was actually the first Celestial Fox Saintess of the Celestial Fox tribe. Qinyu felt her scalp go numb when she thought about how Yushang had been resurrected. Qinyu, let me ask you, did you really devour Hua Yanluo and Feng Lian's hearts? Yushang stared at her with a gaze that made Qinyu tremble in fear. Yes, Lady Yushang. Qinyu wouldn't dare do it again. I only did it because I was possessed for a moment. Qinyu didn't dare act presumptuously in front of Yushang and the Great Shaman Doctor. Then tell me, if I devour your heart, will my strength increase greatly? After all, Yushang was someone who had died once. She was shockingly bold. Originally, she wasn't willing to do something like devouring the hearts of her tribesmen. However, Yunsheng's strength had increased by leaps and bounds. Moreover, there was a little lowly of unknown origin beside her. With the two of them added together, the pressure on Yushang multiplied. Lady Yushang, please spare me. Qinyu doesn't know, I don't know anything. Qinyu watched as Yushang approached her step by step. She suddenly realized that Yushang had saved her life because she wanted to devour her heart. However, it was all too late. When Yushang's claws pierced Qinyu's chest, there was only regret left on Qinyu's face. If she had known this would happen, she wouldn't have. This was all retribution. Yushang's fox claws searched Qinyu's chest. There was a series of disgusting sounds of flesh and blood. After a short while, 3 hearts appeared in Yushang's hand. Haha, they really are 3 hearts filled with energy. Yushang let out a bone-chilling laugh. She opened her mouth and swallowed all 3 celestial fox candidate hearts. When the taste of blood filled her mouth, Yushang felt a terrifying power fill her body. Her entire body trembled and her eyes turned scarlet. Is this the power obtained after devouring hearts? Boundless power. Yushang extended her hand, and the heavenly fox inheritance pillar that had been stuck in the ground all this time suddenly flew into her hand. As the terrifying power flowed through Yushang's body, the power of inheritance from the celestial fox pillar of inheritance poured into Yushang's body. Her face constantly changed under the influence of the power of inheritance and the power of the heart. On the 3rd day after the Saintess ceremony, Yun Sheng and Yushang received Hu Qianqiu's notice and headed to the Celestial Fox Shrine. The two of you shoulder the heavy burden of being the Celestial Fox Saintesses. Recently, there have been some incidents in the north and south of the Celestial Fox tribe. The local Celestial Fox people are very uneasy. I hope the two of you can hurry to the area and help me and the Council of Elders calm the people and restore their confidence," Hu Qianqiu said as he took out 2 Celestial Fox statues and handed them to Yun Sheng and Yu Shang. "These 2 are statues of faith. In the coming days," Hu Qianqiu said. "This thing is used to collect the power of faith?" Yun Sheng looked at the Celestial Fox statue in her hand. It was a Celestial Fox statue made of an unknown material. It looked very similar to the Celestial Fox statue in the Celestial Fox Shrine, except that it was much smaller. Yes, the statues of faith are the most fundamental things of the 8 Desolation tribe. They are incomparably precious. Take the statues and head to the north and south of the Celestial Fox tribe. Whoever can collect the most power of faith will be the winner. On the other hand, if you don't receive the support of the people along the way, the statues of faith will shatter, Hu Qianqiu said seriously. "This thing can shatter?" Yun Sheng looked at the statue in her hand suspiciously. "I've said all that needs to be said. Please leave as soon as possible." Hu Qianqiu looked at Yun Sheng and Yu Shang. He also wanted to know who would become the saintess of the Celestial Fox tribe in the end. Yu Shang will not disappoint the tribe leader. Yu Shang bowed. "I'll do my best." Yun Sheng didn't know how to collect the power of faith, so she could only reluctantly accept this little thing. The 2 of them walked out of the Celestial Fox Shrine together. "Yun Sheng, let me tell you, you can't beat me." Yu Shang suddenly called out to Yun Sheng. "I'll return those words to you. Yu Shang, you hit me a total of 109 times in the ancient seal. I'll return them all to you." Yun Sheng sneered. "Don't be so smug. Don't think that you're the only one with a 7-tailed celestial fox. I won't lose this competition." Yu Shang sneered. She suddenly released the power of the heavenly fox in her body, and 7 fox tails grew out from her back. Yu Shang had also become a 7-tailed celestial fox. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.